Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. That's ZipRecruiter.com/zip. ZipRecruiter.com/zip.
Hey, it's 10 a.m. and this is Utah's best sports radio.
Say my name.
You're locked on to Scotty G and the coach, Tim LaComb, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey, let's get it, folks. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Scott Garrard alongside the coach, Tim LaComb. And, let's not waste any time. It is a big, big day. We're up here in Logan. A lot of Pac-12 festivities going on here at Utah State. But the story of the day, Walker Kessler on his way. Not only the Jazz trade him, they trade him to the Lakers. Let's get it. Starting lineup right now.
It's time to kick off the show with the biggest headlines of the day. This is your starting lineup on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, here we go. The Jazz, we all just assumed Walker Kessler would be in a Jazz uniform next year. That will not be the case. He will be wearing the purple and gold of the Los Angeles Lakers, a 4-year contract worth $140 million, roughly just shy of $33 million per year. And the Jazz get a haul. They get 2 unprotected first-round picks, 2 pick swaps, which is a monstrous amount, but still a rim protector and a rebounder, an elite, a potential elite at both, is now off the board for the Jazz.
Well, first and foremost, I'm with the legend in a legendary spot.
Yes.
Right here in Logan, which is one of my favorite spots, and I was enjoying my drive so much. And then, I did that thing you're not supposed to do. I checked my phone at a traffic light.
Yeah.
And I happened to see 4 minutes prior, and I had to do all the checking to make sure it wasn't fake shams and all that. But 4 minutes, before I actually clicked onto that, Shams had reported this. And obviously this is big time. This is not, in my opinion, it wasn't part of the plan. I think this is an outlier. And I'm just in the middle right now of trying to unravel the nuance of it. And I can just tell you, I think there's probably nuance. Numbers say one thing, but I think there's nuance.
So, look, there's a bunch of different ways you can look at this. And this is the fun part of sports radio, when you start to when things break it right in the middle or at the beginning of your show, and you don't really have time to form an opinion. So we're all just kind of forming that as we're listening and as we're talking and working our way through this thing. Ben Anderson is going to join us coming up at 10:30 to give us his thoughts. The Jazz get the haul. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, no question. This is not a situation where they got nothing.
No. They did well in terms of overall compensation for Walker Kessler. But I agree with you. This doesn't feel like this was part of the plan, and sometimes you have to adjust on the fly. Walker Kessler probably wanted closer to $40 million from the Jazz. The fact that he took $33 million to go to the Lakers on a 4-year contract probably means that that was a desired destination of his, and it was something that he's like, okay, I'll stay here, but I'm going to need a whole lot more money. Just reading between the tea leaves, because he had his group out there telling the Jazz they wanted $40 million, and he's going to be shy of that, but going to the Lakers.
I feel for the people that have invested a ton of time and emotion in this, particularly the front office, and this is one of those situations that obviously a year ago they decided to deal with this year, and in doing so, this became a possibility. I want to make sure we talk about in the beginning that they were more than compensated. John Morant, who was just traded, and I know he has his issues, but he was just traded the other day with no first-round picks attached. This is 4 first-round picks, so what in essence those picks probably become is finding a center to replace them. But this could have been really bad had the Jaren Jackson move not been made.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But I think you got to think about, we've thought about that front line with Walker, and, we'll figure out the nuance. I think you're onto something there. I have heard it, through the league where the new location is so enticing and the sales job's so good because that's what you do. You get to go out and it brings back those memories of people fawning over you in high school, going to college, and Walker got to do that twice. He left North Carolina and went to Auburn, and so he made that jump in college. Looks like he's going to do that again. By all indications, the sales job was very good. J.J. Redick, I do believe he's more of a presenter, podcaster type guy than actual leader of men. Unfortunately, I think that's going to be a one part that Walker's going to notice right away is just kind of the difference in that. But also the sell was Walker was quote unquote handpicked by Luka to, be the guy that catches his lobs and frees him up and plays alongside him. And watching Luka and understanding what he can do for bigs, that definitely held a ton of weight. I do think in the NBA it happens where a team will be willing to pay the guy a certain thing. The offer comes in more, and then there's a direct message like, hey, this isn't really what I'll come back for. It's got to be this or more because I really like this situation over here. So unless it's that or more, don't bother. I think you kind of understand where guys sit, and part of this is being all in. I think that's part of it, and that's what, unfortunately, sometimes this process yields. And I don't disparage Walker in the least. This is business.
Yeah.
And, people take it easy with personal stuff because it's not personal. This is a business decision.
Well, it is funny. The Jazz fans always want a villain, and whether it's fair or not, I think Walker Kessler just became a villain.
Oh, no,
for
no
the
question.
Utah Jazz.
Sports-wise,
yeah.
In that arena, make him feel it. But just go easy on social media.
Yeah. So from a Jazz perspective, it's okay. So you always talk about, and I've always referenced Jared Calhoun always said NBA, next best action. You always talk about what's the action after the action. Okay, I don't think the Jazz, there's a lot of people out there that think that there's another shoe to drop from this. Well, there will be eventually, but I don't think this move was made with another move right with a ball on the carpet. Like, I don't think things were ready to go immediately for another deal. I think the Jazz wanted Walker Kessler back. I think they were hoping Walker Kessler would come back. And now you do have some financial flexibility to go out there and try to find somebody to fill those shoes. The bigs are getting snapped up pretty quick, though. Mitchell Robinson is now off the board, so the Jazz are going to have to find a way to get in the sweepstakes because, as Austin Ainge told David James at the press conference on Saturday, I currently do not have a center on the roster. And so the Jazz, they need to fill some big shoes right now. They need some size 15s, some size 16s that they've got to fill out for that roster. You got to have rim protection, and you got to have rebounding.
Yeah, and one thing that that brings up is they're going to have even more flexibility. They were going to have to make a decision next year, and they were trying to get Walker in at a number that would fit, so that then they can attack Keontae next year. And if I'm reading the tea leaves, that number was something that they were willing to stretch, but not to a certain point.
We knew there was a walkaway number.
There was a walkaway number. And I think that number actually got influenced a little by the process because, you go get recruited. I used to hate when we'd have a guy. I'd always want to be the last visit because there's nothing worse than having a guy come visit your place and then know the next weekend he's somewhere else. You know what I mean? It's just that's a tough one. It's like in high school when you're going steady and your parents say, hey, you got to date someone in between. and you're thinking, oh man, she's going to fall in love with this in-between guy. So, but because guys, you just put your best foot forward, and that's what the Lakers did in this situation. And, Walker liked what he heard, and I think the selling point, again, is playing alongside Luka.
One thing about the Lakers, too, and you and I have talked about this, you and I have heard this from different sources, though, that the Lakers, with their new ownership group, the Lakers were pretty fortunate to have the success they had with the buses because they weren't a particularly run franchise. They weren't necessarily liquid. Money was an issue because they didn't have any other forms of revenue coming in. It was just the Lakers. So they ran that thing pretty lean. The Lakers are now a very well-funded machine. This is the group that still works the Dodgers. We've seen what the Dodgers are up to. Make no mistake, the Lakers are back. Like, the Lakers are back in terms of it's time to win games and win at a high level. They've got good ownership. They've got good management now. They've given a blank check to Rob Pelinka to be able to do what he needs to do. So the Lakers are not going to be befuddled anymore due to bad ownership. They're in it to win it, and they will. They'll get back to a high level of respectability with Luka and the rest of this crew that they're building right now. And make no mistake, they gave LeBron James the opportunity to say he was walking away, but this ownership group and this front office told LeBron to hit the streets.
Well, I've got to put a pin in the LeBron thing because I was coming in here today. That was going to be my whole thing, was how soon can we have the farewell? I tuned a free agency show last night. It was a 3-hour show. And first of all, he's got the talking heads, all the people he wants. He's got Windbag. He does a good job, but got to have a nickname.
He is what he is.
Hannah Storm was in the house, from way back. It was like my youth watching her on NBC. And then it was former teammate Iman Shumpert, former teammate Kendrick Perkins, and who was the other guy? Oh, they brought in Jefferson for a stint. Basically, 2 hours and 45 minutes was, what's LeBron going to do? And I was like, the guys are signing across the league and they're not saying it. Yeah. I was like, can we stop with this narrative? Anyway, that was my thing. This one, it came out of left field. Again, there's going to be nuance involved, but you're right. It's not what happens. It's how you deal with what happens. And sometimes, I know this in my life, right? The middle, I think, oh man, what am I going to do now? A closed door, there's another opportunity that makes itself presentable. So the Jazz have a ton of money, and they've just added to their coffers in terms of NBA currency. What's NBA currency? It's picks, it's pick swaps. It's, all that stuff.
So the one thing that concerns me a bit on this is that this isn't about free agency anymore. This is about trades. And do the Jazz have to give up assets outside of draft picks to go and fill that center spot? Because you were hoping just to add Walker Kessler, pay him a bunch of money, and have him there in the middle of your paint. Now you may have to – you did pick up some assets and some financial flexibility, but if you're out there trying to pry a center away from another team, you may have to give up a player now that you weren't planning on doing, And so the asking price, even though you got a little bit more flexibility financially, the asking price may cost you more in the long run from a talent standpoint.
Yeah, it might, and that's But I think this basically came to a crossroads because most decisions do, and I think the Jazz really wanted Walker to come back, but it had to be right. And again, knowing what they have to do next year, the year after, because all of these guys, are going to have their comeuppance, and they've got to be a decision's got to be made. So I think they just said, look, if they can't fit inside this number. And if what I think possibly happened, Walker wanted more than that to come back, then in my mind, you make that decision now. You get the assets now. You lean completely into Keontae, who I think you were all in on anyway. And, you've had this vision that Walker needs to be there. The Jazz have the luxury for the first time ever of having a little bit of size.
Yes.
And Nurkic can't be your starting center for the entire year, so they've got to figure it out. But, if this opens the door to, a trade perhaps, Perhaps even attacking your toughness issue, maybe you can lean more into that this year and go pursue a guy like Lou Dort, guys like that. So I guess my thing is this is not the end of the world, but it's certainly like playing chess. It's our move.
Looking at the YouTube text line, you can jump in on there, leave a message. Sabonis, Robert Williams III. I mean, we're going to see a bunch of names popping up here.
We'll see a bunch of names. I think really the free agency wise, I think that's run its course.
Yeah, I do too.
It was thin coming in, and they're gone.
Yeah.
And so I think if anything's going to happen to address this year, it's going to be perhaps to go get a younger guy that's, maybe less reps and some potential, and just lean into the veteran part of that group, loving them up and teaching them the way. Or probably more likely do some sort of trade. Somebody's got a big man they want to get off their hands. Go figure out a way to do it. And certainly you've got a treasure trove of first-round picks to help entice things and swaps and things like that.
I know that. All right, so let's look at this. If you do go young, certainly talent, but not necessarily high-level established talent. You may have to use Jaren Jackson Jr. a little bit more at the 5 than maybe you were planning on.
Right, and that's not ideal, but again, that's one of the luxuries, having a guy like Jaren who's established, who's physical. He's not a 5, and I think Austin Ainge even said, we don't have a center. So I think they need to address it. They've obviously done so with Nurk. And now, I'm sure they're in strategy, or if maybe they already had plan B and they're just trying to execute plan B now.
So the Jazz get 2 unprotected first-round picks. They do get 2 pick swaps, the earliest of those coming up in 2028. And so the Jazz pretty much ripped everything they could away from a pick standpoint. The only thing in the next 5 years that the Lakers have available to them is a first-round swap in 2032. That's it. Like the Lakers, they shot their shot and went all in on Walker Kessler, but they do come away with a potentially really good center. But, look, injuries have been an issue. I don't know if the Jazz really would have pushed the issue if they could have gotten Walker Kessler back on the court last year. I know there wasn't a high level of motivation to do that, but the guy hasn't played a lot over the last couple of years.
No, and I think that the thing to look at, I think in a perfect world, in my mind leading up to this, if the Jazz, if that offer was in the mid, 30s, my thought was they would match. And that's in a perfect world, and that's why I said this. There has to be nuance to this.
Yes.
Because at face value, while they got a bunch of picks, it doesn't derail the plan whatsoever. It's just an alternative route to get to where you want to go.
Yeah.
And it's a tough one because I saw last night people are saying you can't pay that much for a guy that just rebounds. And I mean, you have to understand he's one of the best young rim protectors in the league. But I think, honestly, I went into a meeting last year prior to the season with the Jazz and met with Will. It was Thurl and myself and Bowler, Booner, Locke. It was fun. We basically just went in for 30 minutes and got to kind of interact, ask questions, and some of it off the record, some of it on. But, the topic of Walker came up. And he basically said that, Walker's been awesome, but in order to really invest in him, we need to see a ton more to just help us to make that decision. And we've got time, and we're gonna choose not to do this, sign this contract. And then, of all things, 5 games in, the dude gets hurt and can't play the rest of the year. So that was kind of the wrinkle number one, because I do believe last year the Jazz just wanted to reinforce. But I do think that, over time, guys see things one way, coach sees things one way, and that's where I talk about nuance. Like something in that situation had to have evolved where, at that point, Walker came into the press conference and he's like, before we get going, I want to just say, this is the beginning last year, I just want to say I'm not happy about this, but I want to talk about it, and we'll talk about it next year. And it was really the first time I'd ever seen the dude, look disappointed outside of, being out there on the floor from time to time as a rookie. And so I just took note of it because obviously this is a human thing too. You got to interact. You and I have to actually like each other enough to see each other every day. There's that component of it, and then you also have to really bring like-minded guys into your locker room. And I just kind of wonder all the way along if there was some doubt as to whether Walker could really ultimately develop into one of the great centers in this league, and they just wanted a little more time. In my opinion, that injury really kind of foiled that plan.
Yeah, yep. All right, we're just getting started. Coming up next, Ben Anderson will join the program. We'll talk with him, get his thoughts on a bird's eye view of all of this. It's all straight ahead. You're listening to 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
And the Utes, Cougars, and Aggies. When it comes to sports in Utah, we've got you covered. This is Scotty G and the coach, Tim LaComb, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Scott Garrard, the coach. Tim LaComb. Hope you're all having a tremendous day. We are live up here in Logan. It's Pac-12 day, first day of the Pac-12 conference for Utah State. We'll talk to a lot of people about that coming up a little bit later on the show. But the biggest headline of the day by a long, long mile is, of course, the Jazz losing out on Kessler. He will be traded to the Lakers, a 4-year $140 million contract, about $33 million per season over the next 4 years. Joining us now to break it down, Ben Anderson. You hear him every day from 2 to 6, but also Jazz Insider on KSLSports.com. Ben, how surprised are you by all of this?
I'm pretty surprised. The number is not enormous for Walker, but clearly too rich for the Jazz to decide that they wanted to match. And then the big haul coming back to the Jazz. But this feels like a weird kind of veer compared to where the Jazz probably thought where they were going to be.
Yeah, I mean, in my mind, Ben, and you and I had talked as we pass each other every day. I thought up to mid-30s, and even if you had to do it this year and figure it out. But I think one thing I was trying to process is they've got to re-up Keontae next year. It was going to be dicey. Does this just kind of give them the ability to just lean into that now from that standpoint in terms of team building?
Yeah, I mean, I think Keontae obviously becomes a priority, and who knows, maybe they even try and get that deal done now this summer if they want to avoid what just happened with Walker Kessler.
True.
And realize how difficult restricted free agency can be, even though it really does favor the teams that have the players, which is why the Jazz ended up getting 2 first-round picks and 2 swaps out of this. But no, I had assumed Walker would be back. I kind of thought at some point they would settle with like a 3-year, $100 million deal, which is actually richer per year than what Walker ended up getting. But, I think all signs point to the Jazz having a pretty firm line. I think they were willing to structure the deal that they had offered, that 5-year, $137.5 million deal, in some different ways. But certainly seems like Walker wanted more per year, and the Lakers were willing to give it to him, and the Jazz weren't. And that's why we are where we are today.
Let's talk about the compensation, though. The Jazz get 2 unprotected first, a couple of pick swaps, so essentially 4 first-round picks. That's a pretty good haul considering he hasn't played a lot over the last couple of years, and he's still very young in his career. I'm
not that worried about Walker's health. I mean, so much of it was because the Jazz were trying to tank games, and then last year he thought this surgery was to improve his performance. He thought he was being held back because of the shoulder injury. So that's, good news if you're a Lakers fan. You hope that there is more to Walker. And the reason why the Jazz wanted to sign him to a 5-year deal is they thought by the end of this 5 years he was going to be an excellent player, and they were really going to be able to develop him. So I wouldn't worry as much about that. But what I would worry about if I was a pessimistic Lakers fan right now is, they have no tradable picks now. They have 1 swap they can trade now coming up, I think, in 2032. But you can't trade your pick because they've now already traded 2031 and 2033, and you can't trade consecutive picks. So this is their roster. This is the team. They do not have flexibility really to go out and make a lot of other moves using any draft picks, which is exactly where the Mavericks found themselves with Luka, which was a really difficult spot to be in and why they ultimately ended up trading him. And the Jazz are betting that this is far enough out that, Walker's contract has expired. Who knows what Luka's going to be or where Luka's going to be at that point. So the Jazz feel like that must be a good opportunity for them, and they maintain a lot of flexibility. Again, much easier to sign Keontae George today than it would have been had they retained Walker Kessler, and they have refilled the draft assets that they lost mostly in the Jaren Jackson Jr. trade. So think now, I've written the article, the Jazz have like 10 firsts between now and 2033. Again, they're kind of back to being asset rich. Now the advantage is they have Jaren Jackson Jr. and Darren Peterson, and that's not where they were last summer. So that's advantageous, but they do not have a starting center. They do not have kind of a legitimate rim protector. And, Jusuf Nurkic is a good player. He's not a rim protector. Kyle Filipowski coming off the bench is a good player. He's not a rim protector. And Jaren Jackson Jr. has proven throughout his career he's not a center. And centers are hard to get right now, which is why the Lakers paid that huge price. So I suspect everyone leaves this a little bit hurt because of the price the Lakers paid, because the Jazz lost the center, and also everyone's happy because Jazz, have all this flexibility now, and the Lakers are happy that they did get somebody to pair with Luka Doncic in the front court.
So do you think Walker can guard all the other guys' guy? Is that kind of the plan, it sounds? With Austin Reeves and Luka out there, he's got to shore up at least something out there defensively.
So the question about Walker has always been like, the rim protection numbers are good. Certainly the block shots are really good. The defense is okay. You've got to be more than just a shot blocker. There are a lot of guys who block shots that aren't necessarily defensive anchors. They might dissuade you when you get to the rim, but are you actually going to take that step? And that's what the Jazz have been waiting for with Walker, and I think we're investing in with the offer that they put there for him. But he wasn't doing it yet. So that's a huge, huge bet. I mean, Walker has a ton of pressure on him right now, and he's going to look really good on the offensive side of the ball. He's going to be able to catch a lot of lobs. He should get a lot of space. He's an A-plus offensive rebounder. A lot of those things will work in Kessler's favor. I don't think he's about to become, a 20-point, 12 rebound, 3 block per game player. I'm not sure that's who he is. And I don't know if the Lakers are on the verge of becoming, a top 10 defense in the NBA. So that's where this does get a little bit dicey for the Lakers is actually how good can Walker become as a full-on defensive force. He's not Rudy Gobert. He's not certainly Victor Wembanyama, who by himself brings you a top 10 defense. That's not who Walker's been yet, but he still may be able to get there. He's only 24 years old.
All right, Ben Anderson, Jazz Insider, KSLSports.com, and, of course, hosts our afternoon show with Jake Scott. So, Ben, let's talk alternatives now for the Utah Jazz. Sure, you got your haul of draft picks, so you've got assets, but how do you see the Jazz trying to fill out this roster, not just with bodies, but you got to go out there and find a starting center somewhere. Where do you pull from?
Yeah, I had thought Mitchell Robinson, and then I saw that deal get done this morning, and I thought, oof, this is getting thin. I mean, it's 3 teams competing for 2 players, really, and that was the Lakers, the Jazz, and the Pistons between Walker Kessler and Jalen Duren. And I was in the process of tweeting, like, someone's going to miss out on a player here. Someone's just not going to have a starting center, and you probably don't want to be on the wrong end of that. And right now, that's the Utah Jazz. So where do you go from here? It's pretty dicey. I mean, it's not very plentiful. If it was plentiful, other teams would have gone out and just filled the spots easily. One name I would keep an eye on potentially is Daniel Gafford from the Dallas Mavericks, but that's kind of contingent on whether or not Derek Lively, who you remember the Mavericks traded up and drafted in the 2023 draft, maybe it was later than that, who's a good starting center when he's healthy. He's just never healthy. He's out of a walking boot, but apparently he can't run or jump right now. So if he's not ready to play this season, they're probably not giving up on Daniel Gafford as their backup center. And then you just don't really have anyone. So, I'm sure the Jazz have walked through this and they have their contingency plans and they know where to look. But that would be the name I would look at. It's where I thought the Lakers would go if they missed out on Walker Kessler and Jalen Duren. But again, it's contingent on whether or not Derek Lively is healthy. And maybe the Jazz just say, we're going to keep our powder dry. We're going to go into the season without, that true rim protecting 5 and see what it looks like. And then when the market softens up, which it should, this is a good seller's market for centers. This is a bad buyer's market right now, clearly with the price that Jalen Duren's going to get, which Walker Kessler just fetched from the Lakers. That will ebb and flow, and eventually it will be a little bit more plentiful, and you probably won't have to pay this type of price for a starting center. You just got to figure out how good Walker Kessler actually is.
I guess the one thing because I'm sure everything is, the world is over and the sky is falling. One thing to remember, they don't think the Jazz plan as much as they'd like to. I don't know if they're going to win the championship this year. So there was always going to be some tweaking to the roster. And I think, Ben, you make a great point. one of the other things that they may do, or maybe asking you this question, do you anticipate maybe addressing some of the other issues now with some money, like the toughness issues, actually go identify and get involved with a couple of free agents that could help you in other areas?
Yeah, and I'm a little surprised we haven't seen anything from the Jazz yet at that point. We'll see where they pivot now. I think that this was the big domino that had to fall, whether Walker was coming back or not, before they started addressing some of their other problems. But even some of the other names that had kind of been talked about with the Jazz, whether it was Dean Wade or I think DeAnthony Melton just signed back with the Golden State Warriors a few minutes ago, like some of those names to address some of the issues the Jazz have are off the table. So, yes, they can still now go and address other issues. And bigger picture, I mean, in all honesty, if the Jazz had signed Walker Kessler, I know people were thinking, oh, what happens with Keontae George? Is he around? I was looking at, like, what happens with Lauri Markkanen. Like, you're probably shedding a $30+ million contract somewhere if Walker comes into the fold, and I don't think you're getting rid of Jaren, and that only leaves Lauri Markkanen. Like, at some point, the Jazz were going to have to address that issue of how expensive they were going to be. Now maybe you don't. You know, maybe you go and get a $20 million center or a $25 million center somewhere that's a little easier to navigate. You know, you asked me what options could the Jazz have. Like, the Milwaukee Bucks clearly are not trying to win. They don't need a starting center right now, and they did just trade for Khalil Ware from the Miami Heat. Like, does Miles Turner become available? And he's not a top-tier center. He was the starting center on a finals team not too long ago with the Indiana Pacers, but he makes $27.5 million. Is he available in a trade for a first-round pick or those types of options? So I'm curious how aggressive the Jazz are to fill this specific need. And if not, do they even feel like they need to spend like real money elsewhere, or are they trying to get guys on veteran minimums?
Are there possibilities on this trade to evolve it into a 3-team trade that might bring a player back for the Jazz?
Yeah, because again, I guess because they're trading him, they can get this deal done. It's not like he's signing an offer sheet and then the Jazz are trading. I don't think you have to do that, but maybe you do still, because technically it will be a sign and trade. So maybe that has to wait until the 6th for this to officially be able to go through. So yeah, you could certainly make some deals and work this in to try and bring somebody back or different assets back. But we'll have to see how this works out over the next few days. Certainly, if it's financially flexible for everybody, I can see the Jazz doing that.
Having been involved, with the team, being close and talking with Walker often, through the years, do you sense, like I remember when he came into that press conference last year, really disappointed at the beginning of it. He handled it great, but you could see disappointment. Do you feel like part of this, because on the face value, the money looks right, but there's got to be some nuance behind the scenes here too.
This was never like the happiest marriage. I don't know all the details. Walker's camp has always kind of been pushing for something a little bit different. And I don't know if that's different with the Jazz. I don't know if that's a different team. I don't know if that's a different role. There has always been he's always been a little bit more of a squeaky wheel, I think, than people realized. And that doesn't mean Walker's a bad guy, but someone in his camp, and I don't know if it was an agent. My understanding is it wasn't an agent. It was somebody else. It's kind of always been a little bit wanting Walker to do something different. And so I'm not sure that's ever been like, oh, wow, perfect fit. Walker wants to be in Utah. He's perfect for the culture here, whatever that means. That was never truly the case, in all honesty. And I don't just mean because he's a white guy. Honestly, I don't mean that. It was just like the buy-in. The Jazz had a very serious talk with Walker Kessler early in his career, and he's still early, but like on how to avoid becoming like a Luke Cornett. Like, your potential is really there, but there has to be maybe a little bit more buy-in, a little bit more try hard early in his run. And I think he bought in. I mean, he had a very good third year. He had a terrible second year. But there has always been, I don't want to say competing forces, but a little bit opposite ends of the magnet. It felt like to me it was just never fully bought in, kind of on either side. I always sensed a little bit of skepticism from Will Hardy about what Walker was doing and lauding Walker Kessler. And they really liked some of the things, and it always seemed like maybe there was a couple of things they wanted more of, which is the case with every young player. But I think the best way to put it was, I'm just not sure it was a perfect marriage always. And that goes back to very early in his career. I still think the Jazz wanted him back. I was talking to people yesterday that said, the Jazz love Walker Kessler. They'd love to bring him back. There's a reason they had that 5-year deal on the table for him. But no, I'm not sure this is like the most surprising divorce I've seen in the league.
So as a timeline, and this is obviously speculating on your part, so obviously we wouldn't hold it against you, but do you anticipate the Jazz moving quickly here in the next 48, 72 hours to try to do something? Do they slow play this a little bit? How do you think they proceed?
I would bet they have a couple of moves up their sleeve. Now, that might not be for a center. Maybe you just bring Kevin Love back. Not that I think Kevin Love's going to be playing a whole lot, wherever he winds up. But I'm sure the Jazz, talking to everybody, is that they're very good with contingency plans. They knew this was a realistic possibility last year when they didn't give him a contract extension, and they had a number I'm sure they were comfortable with, and where to move from there. Again, I look at the Mitchell Robinson deal and think the fact that came down with the Boston Celtics, and then the Laker trade came right after, means I wonder if everybody was kind of talking, figuring out where Mitch Robinson wanted to go, if he would take that full mid-level exception to go to the Lakers or go to the Jazz or whatever. I honestly have no idea. That's pure speculation on my part. But sometimes those things start to feel a little bit tied together when they happen that closely. So I would bet the Jazz have some contingency plans, but you can't make something out of nothing. There's just really not a lot of easy options out there.
Do you mess around a little bit with restricted free agency and take a look at Duren?
I don't think so. I think the reason the Lakers ended up with Walker is probably because Jalen Duren was not going to be available for a trade, and I don't know why the Pistons would ever let him get away. They're not in financial straits. He is their second best player. I know he had a terrible playoffs. They want to get a deal on him. They actually played this game of chicken and won, right? Like now Jalen Duren doesn't have a ton of leverage unless he does really want to go play for the Sacramento Kings in a sign and trade. Maybe that then ends up being what happens. Again, it's a seller's market for centers. It is not a buyer's market. You have to pay a very high price to get these guys. But I don't think the Jazz would go that aggressive.
I saw this tweet from Kevin O'Connor, and honestly, after I processed it, I kind of thought the same way. LMAO, wow, the Jazz make out like bandits here. 2 firsts and 2 swaps. You got to be kidding me. All that said, Walker Kessler is healthy, and I do feel fit for Luka. But here's the piece, and Ben, this is what it comes down to. You got to make these tough decisions. But man, what a high price to pay, huge risk. And I don't know that it's a huge risk, but I think when you're trying to piece together a championship, this is where sometimes corners don't meet, and you have to make a decision.
I was skeptical of the Lakers trying to get Walker because they're committing to their big three being Luka Doncic, who's a legit number one, Austin Reeves, who is a very good offensive player, is a terrible defensive player, and then Walker Kessler is like your third. And I'm just like, that's a little rich for me for your second and third guy. So I was always a little skeptical the Lakers would go all in for Walker, but clearly they did. So along the lines of what Kevin O'Connor and I saw Ricky O'Donnell from SB Nation gave the Jazz an A+ and gave the Lakers a D. Like the Lakers are not getting rave reviews for this move because of some skepticism, I think, of who Walker is and how much they paid. It's a lot. There's just no question it's a lot. This is the Lakers team. This is what they are banking on being a unit that's good enough and puts a lot on the pressure on the shoulders of Luka, of Walker, of Austin Austin Reeves. And then, man, the hard part of this, and this is honestly a hard part for Walker that he's going to have to deal with. It's not his fault, but they had to say goodbye to LeBron James. You have to say goodbye to LeBron James to clear the money to bring in Walker Kessler. Like,
hey,
wow.
Have a good time. LA's great. I recommend the sushi spot.
Look, it's not how Walker's agent's going to want to paint it. Walker's going to want to say that that's not what happened, but in a way that is what happened. Like you couldn't get Walker unless you renounced LeBron. So they renounced LeBron yesterday to clear up the space to do it. And if Walker isn't excellent or the Lakers aren't excellent, that's going to be the narrative always is you traded LeBron James for Walker Kessler. And that's a very heavy burden. And I'll be curious to see how Walker handles that.
Ben, you're the best, man. Appreciate it. Looking forward to more insight on this coming up at 2 o'clock. But, again, thanks for being on top of this. Crazy day for sure.
Scotty, 4 years and a day ago, you called me because the Jazz had just traded Rudy Gobert to the Minnesota Timberwolves. If you consider Walker was a part of that and you had 2 more unprotected firsts and 2 more swaps to that trade,
wow.
That's a pretty huge haul the Jazz ended up getting. in the Rudy Gobert move. So again, you can't really do that. Everything is linked through NBA history. You can't go back and still be looking at those trades, but
it's
Jazz
kind of fun.
Pretty well in the Gobert trade.
Wow. And maybe the Jazz kick a couple picks back and bring Rudy back.
Yeah, we'll see.
Hey, thanks, Ben. You're the best.
See you guys.
There he is, Ben Anderson, KSLSports.com, but also on our afternoons with Jake Scott. Looking forward to hearing those guys break that down today, too.
Oh, that's going to be my drive home. Could drive home and listen to those guys. So what a beautiful day to be in Logan. And the event, it looks like, things are starting to, simmer over here.
Yeah, we're up here in Logan. It is Pac-12 festivities as Utah State spends their first day in a brand new conference. We've got the school president, Brad Mortensen, coming up just past 11 o'clock. Cam Walker will join us 11:30. We'll also catch up with Ben Jacobson, new basketball coach, as well as fresh off of Trek, Bronco Mendenhall.
Oh, I want to get the lowdown on how those tinfoil dinners were.
Yeah, I love that, man. It's just it's so good. That is classic Bronco.
You put the beans right in the tinfoil.
Let's go. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Scotty G and the coach, Tim LaComb. Presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Scott Garrard, Tim LaComb. The Jazz, the new look Utah Jazz without Walker Kessler, as Kessler traded to the Los Angeles Lakers 2 unconditional first-round picks, also 2 pick swaps. And so the Jazz come out with a haul. I know a lot of NBA draft and NBA analytic nerds are claiming that the Jazz won this in a huge, huge landslide. However, at the end of the day, you still don't have a center. You don't have a starting center on this team.
Yeah, and that's obviously contingencies had to be in place. I do think this is one with the nuance I talked about that the Jazz had to be in the least aware of. This could happen. And so, yeah, you go to plan B. I don't think there's much in the free agent market, honestly. I think this is going to have to be, to go find a couple of guys that, again, teams have a few bigs and are willing to give one. And they're just going to go through and look at those opportunities. They do have the luxury of being bigger than they've been. Obviously, they have Nurk who can fill minutes. But Flip played, he got thrown to the Wolves last year at center, and he progressively got better. I mean, he's never going to be he's not a 5-man, period.
No.
Anytime you put a slash in a guy's, he's the smaller number. You always want him to be more. They can't be more. He is what he is. So he's a 4, but he can play some minutes, but you hit it on the head. Tons of picks, tons of opportunity, tons of cash. Now we got to find the guys.
And by the way, I threw out Duran's name to Ben. You don't get messed up in restricted free agency. Pistons are going to want him back. But they'll wait all 7-8 days after you sign, and so that ties up your money. It's just not worth it. That ties up a little bit of your flexibility. I wouldn't go down that path at all.
No, there's no way. Unless there was some sort of sign-in trade, and like you say, there's just not. They don't have to trade him. They don't have to give him away. And really, with the Jazz right now, you have the pieces. You want to be adding to this group, not subtracting. To your point, so it'll be interesting. But I do think, hopefully, we'll hear something by the end of the show that the Jazz have pivoted. You know how word gets out, and then Shams throws it out there, and then we hear it.
So if you're the Jazz right now, you did bring up the possibility of, you're probably not winning a title next year. So do you retool to a certain extent and use that money to bolster other parts of your roster? Maybe you do get in the Jaylen Brown sweepstakes.
Maybe there's the one thing I've heard from everybody we talk to is toughness. I mean, that's a huge ingredient in a championship team. And so you get that a variety of ways, but sometimes just go get somebody raw and tough that's actually proven it. And those guys will be out there on the market. You don't necessarily have to overpay for the guys like that, but you have to do your homework. You have to know who those guys are. One guy in my mind is Lou Dort. I know his situation is one that, that's something that would be appealing to me. But guys like that maybe you go address a couple of those things, you play center by a committee this year, and, with eyes on next year's draft and free agency.
All right, Utah Jazz now looking for a new center as Walker Kessler on his way to the Lakers. Jazz pick up 4 first-round picks for his services. Up in Logan right now, it's the first day of the Pac-12 for the Utah State Aggies. We'll talk with the president of the Utah State University, Brad Mortensen, coming up next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The best sports radio in Utah is right here, right here. This is Scotty G and the coach, Tim LaComb, on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Scott Garrard, the coach, Tim LaComb. We are live here in Logan on the quad, Utah State University. It is day number 1 of the Aggies in the Pac-12. No big deal. The president of Utah State, Brad Mortensen, kind enough to hang out with us. How are you, President?
Scotty, Tim, great to be with you guys. Thanks for coming up to Logan for our Pac-12 kickoff.
Are you kidding me?
What's not to like?
This is a Chamber of Commerce
day.
Are
you
up
kidding
here.
me?
Yeah, beautiful Cache Valley day.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, so first off, would you have paid Walker Kessler, or would you? No, I'm just joking.
That's out of my pay grade,
Yeah.
Scotty. So.
Those numbers get a little nutty.
Yeah, $38 million. That's no joke. But there is such a vibe up here about this conference and the momentum that's building around Utah State. You come off one of the most successful seasons in Utah State athletic history in terms of from top to bottom in every department of your athletic department. It just seems like things are really clicking right now.
Yeah, it's really me coming in this last year and getting to see all that after being an alum and keeping track of the Aggies, but there is a lot of momentum right now, and the leadership we have with Cam Walker in the athletics department, and then all of our coaches across the board. We've put together a great team, and we're excited to see what we can do as we transition into the Pac-12 and stay with some of the same competition, but also level up and think it's a great opportunity. And the fans and boosters and alumni, I've had so many of them just who are so excited about. Who would have ever thought Utah State would be in the Pac-12 after some of those years when we were kind of on the meandering path, and now having a chance to really up the playing field for all of our teams and the reputation of the university. We're excited.
When did you graduate?
1995.
Okay, so I was late 90s, early 2000s. So we lived through those independent years.
Right.
That was no fun. And to see where Utah State has evolved over the last 30 years has just been dramatic.
Yeah, and just the success we had coming out of the Mountain West, and of course, men's basketball gets a lot of props, but gymnastics, soccer, volleyball, our men's tennis team, that all just really had a dominant season, and we hope that we can continue that momentum and think we have a great chance to do that.
I traveled up here for many years wearing a different color, which wasn't always fun. But one thing stood out, man. People up here love their Aggies and are so passionate. Doesn't matter if it's a Tuesday night, people are going to be there. How does that, as a president, I mean, that's probably, to me, you would think probably the backs that's built on over time. And, I mean, I've been around long enough to remember Rod Tueller and the teams that he had up here, and certainly became, was an enemy of Stu Morrill, and he and I became buddies, right? But like the people that kind of got it to this point, talk about them for a second.
Yeah, there just really is a great pride and tradition here at USU, and that bleeds throughout all of the community. I felt that coming in when I started in November. It's just everybody cares about Aggie athletics, and whether I'm talking to a coach, a new coach coming in, or a recruit, sometimes it's just to be able to share that the whole community is behind you. They live and die by you, and that's a great thing. It's also a bit of a challenging thing, but and I feel that too in this role. But we definitely want to capitalize on that. I think if you look at the fundraising that the athletics department has achieved, just from some of our longtime folks stepping up to a new level, or new people coming into the fold and really wanting us to succeed during this crazy time of college athletics where money does play an even bigger role. I just think that there's all the foundations in place, but coming to the Spectrum, whether it's a Tuesday night or a Saturday afternoon or whatever it is, and to see that place rocking with the herd, that kind of sums it all up.
How much does success in sports translate to the academic side?
The diehard academics, would like to think it's all about what we do in the research labs and in the classrooms. It's just not the case. You raise the profile of the whole university by how well our athletics teams do. And when men's basketball is doing well, when football is doing well, in particular here at USU or at other schools across the country, we know that admissions applications go up, fundraising goes up, the overall impression of the academic profile of the institution goes up. And so that's something where we want to try to keep a balanced perspective at USU. We don't want to sacrifice the academic and research mission for athletics, but at the same time, we know that athletics can be, really a big boost to what we achieve academically and on the research side.
Spent about half an hour with Cam last week, and as a president, you must sleep well with athletics, with him in charge of that, and then the basically guys Bronco and Jake that have been doing it so long. I mean, you've got an unbelievable staff on your athletics side. Talk about that.
So some people said to me, because Cam got hired, 6-8 weeks before I did. And some folks have said, "Oh, don't you wish you could have picked your own AD?" I'm like, "Not if you've got Cam Walker." So Cam's just been tremendous with what he's done in the culture in the department and reaching out and engaging with the community. And then, Coach Mendenhall, just the culture that he brings, taking the players on a pioneer trek.
I know. I want to ask
media.
about the tinfoil dinners.
That just, I mean, what it does to build up team culture, but also connect with the community is that's mastermind stuff there. And Coach Jacobson, he's just going to really, it feels like a perfect fit into the culture at USU and the success that he's brought over time. I'm really excited for what basketball is going to do this season as well.
The thing that I find interesting in this new landscape of college athletics is, look, the athletics and academics and the school administration were always hand in hand, but now it seems like it's even more with the with NIL and a lot of the future paths that we're on and currently in. How has that worked here at Utah State?
We really do have to align because it's about the fundraising and the NIL, and then the policies that are being set, whether it's at a conference level or even in Congress. I was back in Washington, D.C. last week talking to our delegation about the Protect College Sports Act and, trying to garner support for that because we do want to have some safeguards in place. So we really have to fire on all cylinders. And we're fortunate in the Pac-12. I mean, it's been a transition, and a tip of the cap to Teresa Gould and her team there, who really went down to a skeletal crew and now has to build back up. And she was testifying before Congress 3 weeks ago, and it's kind of fun. We'll see how it plays out. The presidents have all been really rah-rah Pac-12, but then when you talk to every one of us, we are all pretty sure that our school is going to dominate the new Pac-12. So we'll have to see. But we have a group text thread, and everybody's posting pictures of their celebrations happening last night. So there's a lot of enthusiasm about what we can do together as a league. But that starts from being united with, the coaches, the athletic department administration, the university administration.
So talking to Cam Walker, he mentioned that from his perspective, it's not just joining a new conference, it's like building a new conference. What's been your perspective and what's been your role as a school president working with other presidents in the build out of this thing?
And it's interesting how we've come together, whether it's, you have those two legacy Pac-12 schools and they kind of have their perspective, and then the five of us joining from the Mountain West, and then you throw in Texas State and Gonzaga. But there's just really been a lot of unity in the room there to figure out how to do things, and kind of an acknowledgement is we don't have to, because we're coming to a new conference and building a new conference, we can think creatively and try to think outside the box a little bit. And some of the assets that we have from the previous version of the Pac-12 in terms of media production and broadcast production and those things, we think that's an opportunity for us to really leverage and push the boundaries of what college athletics can be like in the future in this new world, and how we can bring more value together for fans and boosters and folks who want that access to different parts of the game. So it's really exciting to be in the room and to talk in that way, and to think that we can write our own rules in the new Pac-12.
Anything surprise you since you started this new gig?
honestly, the biggest surprise is just how much, and as an Aggie myself, I've always known it's been there, but being in this role and just feeling the support and knowing how deeply people want Utah State to succeed, not just athletically, but as an academic institution, because of the value of their experiences as alumni, because they see the impact, not just in Cache Valley, but all across the state of Utah and beyond. When we talk about programs like the Space Dynamics Lab, that's literally, changing the world with what we do here in Logan. People just hold that to their core, and because of that, they want me to be successful. They want our athletic teams to be successful, the faculty, and so that's just really powerful. And it's easy to get out of bed every morning and come to work when you've got that kind of army behind you.
So you are an alum and you are a sports fan. It would be impossible for me to be in your position and not micromanage the heck out of everybody. Like, I would want to get in the weeds.
We are going for it on fourth down every time,
exactly.
Scotty.
Like, I would be Phil Knight with a headset in the booth. They're like, no, you're it's going to be a play action on first and goal from the 2. We're not running it, stuff like. But in terms of like trying to be involved, but also let other guys do is what's that like for you as a fan?
It's. I found when my son is playing, then it's harder.
Yeah.
But in this role, and when you've got great coaches and great folks on the field, it's just like you just want to cheer for them, and you just want them to be successful, and mostly because you know how much work that they've put in, and that thrill of victory and the agony of defeat is real for those guys and gals that are wearing Aggie blue, and so you just want them to be able to be successful. And so whatever I can do to help promote that and to let them know that we've got their back, I feel like that's my biggest role.
That's why you're a better man than I am.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. Hey,
I will yell at the refs from time to time,
as you should. Hey, President, we appreciate your time. Thanks for
so
coming
much
by.
for being
Congratulations on the day.
Our early word. Can we get this dude in the Hall of Fame sometime?
Stop it. No.
He's a Hall of Fame kind of guy.
We're like 20 years from even.
No, I mean, come on. Some of the calls you've made already.
We've had some fun ones.
We've had some fun.
You know what? Winning games in the NCAA tournament never gets old.
Right.
That Villanova, or TCU a couple of years ago. That's just to be able to see that and be able to be a part of that as a president. I can't imagine what that's like for you.
That's right. Seeing the guys cut down the nets, that was one of the all-time highlights, and hope
Awesome.
to do it many more times.
I'm the fill-in for Spence when he can't do the game with Scotty. I get to come up, and that's the highlight of my year. I love sitting there and actually having people not yell at me and look like they're actually on my side. I get to high-five people in the herd. From the old days, that wasn't happening.
Right. Well, congratulations. Anything else we can do for you, let us know.
Thanks. Go Aggies.
There he is, Brad Mortensen. He is the president of Utah State University. Cam Walker will join us coming up here in about 15 minutes from right now. As it is the first day of the Pac-12. Utah State embarking on a new conference, building it from the ground up, and great infrastructure here at Utah State for a chance to be successful, certainly short-term and long-term with this conference.
Man, I remember then they were in the PCAA back in the day.
Yeah.
That's how old I am.
It's funny. Everybody, as you look, and hey, today, obviously a lot of Jazz fans up here, and everybody's kind of got their phone open and just looking for another shoe to drop, seeing if Shams is going to get crazy or what else is going on out there, because there's never a dull moment right now in the NBA landscape.
There's never a dull moment. And, one night you're thinking they just got to finish this thing up. And I just am looking at something posted by NBA Central, the real one. Welcome to L.A., the new big 3, Walker, Luka, and Austin. And I still have the question, outside of Walker, who's going to guard anybody?
Yeah.
It'll be showtime, all right.
Oh, yeah. No,
It'll be showtime, all
you're going
right.
to have a lot of 140 to 136 games up there.
Yep. I mean, that's his job, though. That's probably why they're paying him a little extra. You're going to have to guard 4 people's guy.
Yeah. Honestly, it's not quite, maybe it might be the same philosophy as the Rudy Gobert years. Just funnel everything to Rudy and let him deal with it.
They're signing Colin Sexton as well. They're signing Quentin Grimes, which is a great get. And then Sandro Mamu something or other.
Nailed it.
I mean, I got to Mamu. I'll just call him Mamu. But they got him too. So, man, in a night, they went from LeBron Town to Bronny still there on a guaranteed deal, and then a bunch of new faces.
Well, and also, too, I think it's interesting from, you look at Rob Pelinka, and I think Rob's at the point where, like, hey, look, I'm going to go all in. I'm going to build this team the way I want to build it, post LeBron, and if it doesn't work, then you can fire me, and I'll let somebody else figure out the draft picks from there. But this is his chance to finally put his stamp on the team. He doesn't have to worry about LeBron. He doesn't have to worry about anything else. This is my team. I'm going to build it my way. Yeah,
and that is honestly why they prioritized Walker so much. I think Luka had a list of guys he wanted to go get. Obviously, the guys that were available, possibly even some drafts, and the chemistry was good. Walker went in for the visit, and like I said, that becomes if you've ever gone to one of those, hey, go on this trip to Cancun, but you got to go spend an afternoon with Al in the clubhouse, is one of those. So
just be a part of this short presentation.
But you're going to see the very best the clubhouse has to offer. I'll promise you that. And that's what the Lakers, they rolled out the red carpet, made him feel like the man. Certainly we're going to pay him like the man. Well, now he's got to be the man. And I will say the LA Times is a little more harsh than our local Salt Lake Tribune. Even the Daily Breeze back in the day.
The Daily Breeze was coming for a pound of flesh
if
back in the day.
PK was involved.
Yeah. I am really – yeah, look, there's an element of, for Walker, be careful what you wish for.
No, and again, I don't disparage this dude.
I don't either. No.
I hate when people get into he must not like us. I mean, again, if you've ever changed a job, then you're the same type of person. So don't be a hypocrite. It's just part of it. But I think that the biggest thing is, he can't hide behind, hey, I'm developing. I'm going to be this new guy. I mean, he is thrown right to the wolves, and he's shown the signs of being able to do it, but it's a every night thing at that level, and that's what he's got to do.
All right, so from the Jazz perspective, you've got assets, you've got a lot of things to play with, but now you got to be creative. And if I'm the Jazz, you mentioned the alternative of investing in other areas, and I think that would be perfectly fine, but I don't think the Jazz can sit on their laurels here. And not that you have to make a panic move, but you need to make an aggressive move from my perspective.
Yeah, I mean, here's my view on the world's simple, but if you don't want to get backed into a corner, and stop backing up.
Yeah.
Instead of backing up and recoiling, see what's out there. See where the avenue is that you might be able to get out. With every tough thing in my life, I know this, for all of us, like tough things create opportunity. And opportunities sometimes that we didn't even have in our minds. So, there's definite things the Jazz need to address, and they're just going to have to do it in a different order.
Because we look at asset collection as a good thing. Jazz fans have spent the last 3 years hearing about asset collection. I think they're kind of done with asset collection. Like the Jazz fans want to see talent acquisition, not asset acquisition. And I think that's, in getting a vibe from Jazz fans, they know they got the Lakers. They're not necessarily bummed out about losing Walker Kessler, but they don't want to go backwards because they've been through 3 years of hell. They don't want to. When you hear, the Jazz got a bunch of draft picks, in their mind, they align that with rebuild. And you're certainly not rebuilding off of losing Walker Kessler, but I do think a little bit of like, oh no, we're going to flip that and we're going to make some money on this, we're going to make a different roster, and it's going to be just as good, if not better, based on these assets we're able to treat. But I think there's got to be a little bit of speed to it, aggressiveness.
And again, I think people that look at it that way probably, and I understand what we just went through, but to me, the rebuild itself's over. Okay, this doesn't impact that.
Oh yeah.
But this is now just we're basically a step ahead, a year ahead. We got to make the playoffs so that we do the on the court stuff. But we addressed an issue we were going to have to address next year. Was it going to be Keontae? Certainly, if Walker was going to take more money and not fit into the slot, then you kind of are making your decision already. And the one thing I know, it's well thought out. The analytics probably back it up. But in the NBA currency, these picks are how you get deals done.
Yes.
Jaren Jackson Jr., if the Jazz have to throw in an extra pick that somebody else can't, I mean, it's like you get in a bidding war for a house. When you got deep pockets, and in the NBA, deep pockets are first-round picks. So when you can, especially unprotected first-round picks, those things are gold. And who's going to say that, this Lakers thing's going to work? They have a lot of still have a lot of unanswered questions. So those picks could be great. That thing could blow up, And so I think you have to understand that those picks then could be taken even this year and thrown into another deal, and you go acquire the actual guy you want to get that fits, and then you go address Keontae and go.
I would not look at these picks and say, I wonder what the Lakers are going to look like in 2031 and 2033. I think you look at what are they worth right now in terms of the trade. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the other part of that is, because you don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. Know? So how can you think about 2033? You just carry those around like bricks of gold. And when you're doing a deal and you need to add another one, you've got a bag full of 10 of them. And if those deals come along and you need to draft one, use it, great. Otherwise, those deals, that's what gets deals done. People, even more so, like the Jazz is taking 4 picks back and nothing. Hey, we don't want any players or anything. Just give us 4 picks. That's pretty easy to manage. So that is one real positive. The Jazz with 10 now between now and what do you say, 2033?
Yeah.
I mean, that's insane.
10 first-round picks.
Right.
And, the other element, and I'm glad Ben brought this up, and I know you can't really go there, but it is kind of fun to go there. You got Walker Kessler in that Rudy Gobert trade. He was a throw-in on that thing, and then you just flipped him for 4 first-round picks. So it's like,
hey, why can't we follow it? They do it in the Bible.
Yeah,
that's the begat section.
Yeah, look, Rudy begat Walker,
Correct.
begat 4 first-round picks.
If it's in the Bible, I think it's legal. And I think, honestly, if you look at it, that's pretty extraordinary.
It really is.
That thing still, it's like
the gift that keeps on.
It's like Jason. It's alive.
It's a jelly of the month club.
Yes.
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
We got a walnut this week. Well, you can have it. I hate walnut. Walnut jelly.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone, fired up to catch up with Cam Walker. I know we chatted with him a couple weeks ago, but really at the forefront of what they are trying to build here at Utah State, what they're trying to build in the Pac-12, and a basketball format has been released for the Pac-12 tournament and a location. We'll talk to him about that. It's let's just say it's very familiar of what you dealt with back in the day.
Oh, okay. I'm all ears.
Yes. Let's just say you want to be the number 1 or number 2 seed. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Scott Garrard, the coach, Tim LaComb, right here on the Zone.
We have the tech to get food delivered in 15 minutes, but we all have horror stories about buying tickets. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage. Get amazing tickets in just a few taps. Fees are included, so what you see is what you pay. And the Game Time guarantee means authentic tickets at the best price every time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets to concerts, sports, comedy, and more with Game Time. Download the Game Time app and create an account for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply.
Ladies and gentlemen,
the biggest name. You're locked on to Scotty G and the coach, Tim LaComb, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, I'm throwing a flag on this one. I'm throwing a flag.
The illegal use of the song.
The illegal use of and the poaching of lists is not okay. This was on my list yesterday.
It didn't make your list. You had it too far down the list. Obviously, it wasn't important to you.
I've got grass here on the quad. I'll huck that. Woo! Illegal use of the song.
You can't be poaching other people's lists.
What, Lloyd, what number did you wear in baseball?
Number 10. Good old number 10.
Illegal use of the song, number 10 in the booth.
10 yards. Repeat first down.
Maybe don't have Redbone so far down the list, and you'll get it on there. I had it way up on my list.
Actually penalize Lloyd?
It was on the list, and everything gets bumped up to next week. I'm just keeping a list, so once I claim a song, it should be on my list.
I feel like the rules on what's good and what's bad, and the judge and the jury, I feel like it's constantly changing. Constantly. No, you keep moving the goalpost.
Look, I made one error, so I'm just addressing my side of this duo. Is it dynamic?
By the way,
no,
this deep cut comes from a little group called Redbone.
We know. Everybody knows this is Redbone. Come on.
Lloyd, you won the set list this week because I just tell the truth. I did not put a ton of effort because I felt like last week I was a music snob.
Well,
and what I wanted to do is come back to the pack. I just wanted to come back to the pack.
Because I am going to slice and dice you with these deep cuts now going forward.
Okay. I'm just alerting you guys that Monday, we work Monday, right? We work so infrequently that it's hard for me to keep track. Do we work Monday?
Do you
We-
really
we
want to
do
say
work
that in front of
Monday.
our
Well, I'm
boss
just
here?
saying, you guys have more holidays. These guys are so spoiled.
You got Lloyd back there. You got Nate to our right.
I've had three holidays already. I don't know that I had 3 holidays the previous 16 years.
And don't worry, we're going to make it up when football season starts.
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
worry.
yeah.
Like the grind will start, and you'll be like,
You
wow.
want to take Labor Day off? Ain't happening.
Unless you're Ben Anderson.
Nate and I worked that out.
Yeah. Oh, did you?
Yeah, strictly digging into back. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, Nate knows I'll do whatever, if the team needs it, Coach, I'm there.
Let's do it. All right, joining us now, he is the athletic director at Utah State University, rocking the new pair of Aggie Dunks as well. Let's go, Coach. You're coaching
He
this
is coach.
entire
That's a coach position.
athletic department. Cam, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Good. You know what? It was just a couple weeks we talked, but it's never a bad time to catch up.
I always enjoy it. You guys are more likable than people say.
At least I am, right? That's the buzz. Because Scotty's the mayor.
Everybody who says you guys are jerks, I don't believe it. You guys are pretty good. Hey, what a big day. You've been building on this for about a year now, but to have it here and actually set in stone, how cool of a moment is this?
This is awesome. And there's been so much work that's gone into this all the way around for so many people. And, obviously Teresa Gold, our commissioner, worked really, really hard to make this day. She probably believed when no one else did that this was possible, and kudos to her and the team to pull this off. And it's just an exciting event, and if you're in Cache Valley, come up. We got a lot of people out here. I saw the volleyball team. They wanted to make sure I shouted them out, but the volleyball team here, lots of student athletes coming through. We got a bunch of coaches out. It's just a fun atmosphere. We kicked it off last night with a 5K, and, Ben Jacobson's a sneaky distance runner.
So
it was pretty good.
Man, he was looking fit. The picture I saw, I'm like, wow, Ben.
The dude didn't just show up to a 5K. He ran the 5K.
He ran it. Yeah, absolutely.
No, I know. I saw him. There was a picture of him like on the he was just full.
Yeah, didn't even look like he was breaking a sweat.
His form was a lot better than mine. We'll say that.
He had the high. I just saw high here. I mean, I when I run those things, man, I'm just like, where's the line?
Yeah, I'm just wherever the donuts are. That's what I'm looking for. Hey, so when you build this thing out, and now you have a basketball format, you have a location. You're going to be at the MGM for the Pac-12 tournament. And, Coach, you remember this, the old double buys back in place.
Oh, man, those are terrific, aren't they?
Number 1, number 2 goes right into the semifinals. But you know what? I love when teams get rewarded for regular season.
Those are the days.
Yeah, the regular season has to matter, right?
Sure.
And it has to matter in a significant way. I also think that this also has impact on how deep we go, right? Yes, you can have your number 1 teams and your top teams come out of the conference and run a gauntlet through the conference tournament and come out the other side, and they're probably getting at larges, so even if they get upset, it's okay. But they're tired. And our goal is not to just, again, be in the NCAA tournament. Or how do we go deeper? How do we go deeper for all of our best teams? I think that has to be a concern and a strategy conference-wide. It's certainly a concern for me. How do we go deeper? How do we get a better seed? And how do we go deeper than where we've been? We're not content making tournaments. We want to go Sweet 16s. We want to go to Elite 8s. We want to do those things. And in order to do that, I think you got to be rested. And so I think I'm in favor of this format.
One thing I'm looking forward to as a fan of just all the sport stuff is when y'all play Gonzaga. Like that, to me, those two teams are built so similar. You go to Spokane now, it doesn't have anything like this, the view here, but there's a feeling there that everybody's on board. And I don't know how to describe it, but you get to Spokane, and if you're wearing anything other Gonzaga, particularly if you're wearing another team's stuff, I mean, you're getting a cold shoulder. I experienced the cold shoulder in Logan. I'll admit it, but I'll tell you what. One thing is, there is a cohesive feeling up here. Excited about some of those new rivalries that will come from this that you'll develop.
Absolutely, and keeping some of the best ones that we have. San Diego State's becoming a really good rivalry. Yeah. Boise is.
Years.
Colorado State, we've played them more in football than any other team in this new conference. And so, yes, keeping some. Can't wait to play Gonzaga, Washington State, Texas State, Oregon State. Those are schools with really strong brands and really good reputations. And now, I don't want to play them. I want to beat them.
We're going to beat them.
I want to beat them.
Yeah.
And San Marcos, if the fans, San Marcos is sneaky cool.
Yeah.
Like where Texas State is, that is a place you want to go. Because Austin's close too. So Just putting that on your.
All right, so put it on the barbecue
San
tour.
Marcos is cool.
Halfway between San Antonio and Austin.
That's right. Yeah, about 40 minutes out of Austin. 30.
There we go. Let's go rent a car and go up and get
see
some
my
Franklin's
boy,
barbecue.
Yeah, and go see the boys play.
Yeah. Hey, when you when you are building this out and you're really trying to get things going to where they need to go, fundraising is obviously huge. And the buy-in from the community, the buy-in from your boosters has been absolutely tremendous. There's never any you can't stay even. You always got to be increasing, but it's been fun to see how much that's improved over these last couple of years.
Yeah, we've had tremendous support. This last year, this spring was incredible. People that have been lifelong committed and giving, doubling down, and people that haven't been that committed or part of it, stepping forward and saying, "Oh, I can do something significant, and now's the time." It means a lot. Obviously, the financial impact is huge and means more than just each dollar, but because it also spurs on further. But it also, like, the trust that I take that very seriously. The trust that people are giving to me and to President and to all of our administration and to our coaches to do this right and build it right, like, that's hard-earned money. And I don't take that lightly, and it's incredibly impactful, which is really exciting to just see how involved they are.
And it shows it's like that when Mason Falslev comes back and Carson Templin, I mean, those types of things are what ensure you keep your own here, right?
Absolutely. And that's why you don't mind if I break some news, do you?
Hey, let's go.
We have a sounder, Lloyd.
Yeah. Breaking news sounder. What do we got?
Had a donor call last night. First day of the Pac-12. They would like to do a $2 million match for the month of July. So they are donating up to $2 million and are willing to match. And so we need to generate $2 million in the month of July, and this individual will match that.
Wow.
And, huge. Just unbelievable.
Massive.
Here's the other thing, too. You've had some really good anonymous donors. Like, I would be planting my name on everything if I was donating.
This is Gerard Quad.
This it's really cool. And people like, you know what? I just want to help the organization. I don't need my name out there. That is really impressive.
So many of them. And honestly, they're shy about me even doing something like this. But they understand that this is beneficial so that we can get word out. That's Utah State. That's Cache Valley. They are they don't want the limelight. They don't want the spectacle, but they want to put us in position to be the best we can and to succeed, and overwhelmed by their generosity. And this one's just unbelievable.
I don't want to put you in a weird spot where you have to kiss up to the boss because he's about 20 feet behind you. But
I think he's behind the speakers.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think he can. But when you have a president that says, I would love for this school to just be able to stand on its own in terms of its academics. But the fact is the academics needs athletics, and it needs athletics to be successful to drive admissions and to drive excitement and buzz towards the overall institution. It's really got to help you in your position when you have a president that gets that understands that dynamic.
Massive. And his support, it's incredible. But it goes both ways. We will be a better athletic department because we're connected to this university too, right? Like it's a symbiotic relationship. It's not one way, and the ways they help us are massively significant. So yes, we need to be a huge marketing and branding arm for them. We need to get word out in big time ways, but they are supporting us in countless ways. And I mean, here we are on one of the most beautiful locations in the country on any college campus. I mean, we bring recruits up here. You don't think they want to come? I mean, this is unbelievable. And so us being a part of this university is incredibly impactful to us and all the things the university has, from great academic programs that we can put our student athletes in to incredible research going on. I mean, we have who would have thought that Space Dynamics Lab would be happening Logan, Utah.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the things we're doing are incredible, and we need to make sure that we're doing our part to get the word out, not just about ourselves, but about the institution as a whole, because it's an amazing place.
Can I ask you about some nuts and bolts?
Yeah.
5 for 5. Does that apply for kids this upcoming year? Like, in terms of if they had a fifth year that they could have applied, but they finished their eligibility last year, can they be a part of teams this year?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is just moving forward. So it does not apply to them.
But kids that are currently enrolled and have eligibility, it would apply to them.
Correct. So if you're in year 4 right now, you would be able to come back for year 5. Yep.
And you guys have done a great job just assembling a staff of coaches across the board. Everybody's got to do their job. The coaches have a huge one. Just kind of talk about your coaches up here and what they mean to everything.
From day one when I got here, so press conference was on Tuesday or Wednesday, and then the next day at 8 a.m. I met with our head coaches. I didn't know really what I was walking into. I knew some of them and their reputations, but didn't know all of them. And I walked out of that meeting. I remember calling my wife and saying, "We're going to be okay. This group is unbelievable." And I think with the addition of Ben and Kristen and Keith, we've only added to it in just the caliber of coaches we have. They are the strength of the department. I am trying to put together the best administrative team to remove obstacles for them so that they can go do their jobs, because they are just elite at what they do. And their leadership expands outside their teams, which is rare. But in this department, they really do. They're incredible.
Cameron Walker, athletic director at Utah State, kind enough to join us again. $2 million donation, an anonymous donation that that will be matched. So essentially, if you can raise $2 million, he's going to match up to $2 million.
Yeah, we could
or
end up.
They are going to.
Yeah,
he or her.
He or her. And they will match up to $2 million, and we're hoping that that runs all through the month of July. They were willing to give us not just a week, but give us a month. I mean, we could end July with $4 million in donations. What a way to kick off the Pac-12.
It does feel like it's a kumbaya, like everybody's loving each other right now in this new conference. But make no mistake, there's level of competition, and every time I see, Boise State announces a $1 million donation, then Colorado, it's like there's a level of keeping up with the Joneses in a big way here.
Yeah, I mean, I think you know me well enough at this point I don't whether it's soccer this fall or cross country or volleyball or football or donations. I don't want to be second to anybody.
No, sir. No, sir.
Even ice cream, man.
Even ice cream.
Right?
You're doing 2 scoops, I'm doing 3.
Yeah. Exactly.
You think
or brand.
You think your creamery's good? Ours is better.
Ours is, I mean, come on.
Yeah,
There's no competition.
You got to get some of the athletes over here, man. They got to get them on the stream. With Cam, Just like give us the IKA.
Well, there's so many cool things going on at Utah State, and scheduling I know is at the forefront. Basketball is tough now because there's a limited amount of conference games. Football, you got the deal done with BYU. I know that was something that you had a high priority on, and you were able to wrap that one up too.
For basketball, you mean?
Or your basketball, that's what I meant. Sorry.
Yeah, big, and was able to get football with Utah.
Yes.
And a home and home with them. Big. In-state games are vital, and we want to compete with the best, and we've got 2 of the best in the state here, and so let's compete. I just want to put it all out there. Let's settle all these discussions. Let's go play.
You want to play today?
I'll play tomorrow.
Wants to play today.
Yeah.
Cam's going to put his cell phone out and just be like, "Hey, if you're an AD out there, call me up. Let's go."
Yeah.
We could get a great wiffle ball game out here, man.
We could play unbelievable.
Maybe when we
ball.
finish, we might have to get something going. That is an ideal spot.
If my boys are here, the likelihood that they've got a wiffle ball bat and ball
it's 100%.
in their pocket is pretty high.
Is there any trips to Logan Regional yet?
I better knock on wood. We kept Knoxville Orthopedic in business for a long time. So we've been. I think we've only had 2 trips.
Oh, good.
We're pretty good. We feel pretty good about that.
Nice. Well, hey, congratulations. Fired up. I do have somebody did the Ted Cruz thing. Any updates on that? Do you think? I know it got redlined.
Got redlined. I think it's making progress and it's got momentum. I'm excited about it, and I haven't overly been excited about things that happen in Washington all the time. I feel like it always takes longer. I'm not patient.
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with what they're doing. It's just I want to snap my fingers and have it done.
I like the way Cam does.
Oh yeah.
But I think it's making progress, and I think it's the first real shot on this athletic side that we have hope with. Again, not a silver bullet. There's very few silver bullets out there, but I do think it gives us a baseline that we can start building from and get some of this squared away.
Just some guardrails. Just give us something.
Yeah.
Who's the first football game this year? Who we playing? First?
Not Troy.
Idaho State.
Idaho State.
Yeah.
All right. He's ready to go right now.
I'm ready.
Oh yeah.
You got to contain. It's gonna be you got to wait a minute.
Yeah. By the way, when you saw Bronco take his guys up on Trek, come on. That's
awesome.
You couldn't find a more Bronco thing than that.
No, but it's part to. Yes, it's exactly him. It's his culture. We're going to work hard. We're going to do unconventional things. But it's also about ingraining yourself to a place and becoming a part of what they are, right? Like this is a community that's built on pioneers, and like, let's go see what they did. Let's go find out about pioneers and what that means. And in a way, like that football team's going to be a pioneer as they build in the Pac-12. And it's exciting, and let's go support them and crush it.
I saw those pictures. I was like, yeah, there you go, Bronco.
It was good.
I got a text. I'm not going to say from who. You usually probably hear bad things that come around, but I got a text from somebody saying Cam Walker is an all-star, somebody in the business. So just know, man, everybody sees what you're doing, and know it's not why you do it. You do it because the people up here, you have that same passion.
Yeah. I did get a text too as well. Cool day at USU. My first year as head coach was when we joined the Mountain West. Matt Wells chiming in.
Hey.
Matt's a good one. We've had some good chats. I appreciate that. We usually hear the negative. But, yeah, I mean, my wire, these student athletes out here. They're wearing Utah State. I want to back them 100% so that they can go win.
Let's
and
do
chase
it.
championships.
Let's do it. Cameron Walker, he's the athletic director at Utah State, right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The Jazz, the Mammoth, and the Utes, Cougars, and Aggies. When it comes to sports in Utah, we've got you covered. This is Scotty G and the coach, Tim LaComb, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Scott Garrard, the coach, Tim LaComb. We are live up here in Logan on the quad. And,
hey, I just got on stream, too.
Nobody saw that. We're good.
Oh, I'm sure they did. If it comes up here, I'm going to love it. Because that will be one we got to pull for posterity. Because that must be because he knows I'm a BYU guy.
No.
Yeah.
No.
But I went there.
By the way, you're unaffiliated.
Hey, I'm not.
No.
I worked there.
He was an employee there.
Come on, I've got Aggie blood running through.
Yeah,
me
you do.
Somewhere in there.
Come on, you've done games, man. You called games.
I text back and forth with Stu Morrill. Yes. I don't know how much more Aggie you can get.
Nope, not possible. Now I'm all out of sorts. That was funny. I don't know if Lloyd saw that on the video.
Yeah, we got it on video.
I bet they had something back in. He's like, he's going to ask for it.
Hey, when you so Walker Kessler, now a Laker, or soon to be a Los Angeles Laker, the Jazz get the haul back with the 4 first-round picks, and now it's about how do you retool with a limited free agent. Now, free agency really isn't how you build your team anymore in the NBA. So you've got some assets. Now the Jazz have to go to work, and I don't know if the Jazz did this with a plan B already in place, but I got to think when they're talking to Lakers, Austin, Danny, Jay-Z, the rest of the crew, they're like, okay, if we pull the trigger on this, what are we going to do? So there's got to have some contingencies in place that we'll find about either in the near or distant future.
But some of those contingencies probably have strings. Like
they're
already under contract with someone else. because, like I said, there's no answer in free agency, and I don't know that there ever was, honestly, for the Jazz outside of Walker, and so I think that's what Ben used the perfect word. This we're veered off course. We were pretty assured that we were on this path now with the guys for a couple of years. Still have a guy to add, but with that, obviously, a ton of flexibility, more assets in your bag. So if you now go to plan B, that's to identify targets for trade and take your bag with you.
Yes. Yeah.
And say, we want that dude, and here's what we got.
You got your duffel bag full of $100 bills.
Yeah, you never want to overpay, which is why you don't get involved in this thing.
Yeah.
Stack good decisions, but have it ready because they may ask for an extra one.
Yeah, and so if you have to drop another gold bar to get something across the finish line, you got a chance to go do it. Look, you had those assets. You were able to turn a good chunk of them into Jaren Jackson Jr., which was a huge acquisition.
Oh, man, what
for the
an
Utah
ad,
Jazz.
right?
And so now you just restock the shelves, and so you can go out and do a little shopping again. And now the Jazz, certainly with their work cut out for them, but I don't think I'm not going to call this a massive loss until we see the season start, because I do think something's up the sleeve.
Well, speaking of up the sleeve, I just saw the tweet that Lloyd's just playing a soundtrack today of Guardians of the Galaxy, and he's 3 songs in. So credit to Lloyd, but also credit to the musical director of that particular project, because they're the ones who put the set list together.
Yeah, Andrew called him out, and Andrew, I think, is
but he
correct.
told me he was doing that last week. And
Oh, yeah, I didn't hide this.
I said all is fair in love and war. He didn't try to, this wasn't trying to sneak it past us. I just realized it.
Great soundtrack, by the
It's
way.
probably
amazing
one
so
of the
far.
best soundtracks there are. Really is.
If not the best, honestly.
So is it okay to give you credit for your selection, but not this set list? Because that, again,
set list was already
Yeah,
created.
no,
created by
it's
He's just
fine. I
replaying
don't
it.
need the credit for my deep
Oh, wait, I'm
cuts.
getting into the weeds. You should get the credit.
No, I don't need it. I'm fine. It's okay. Hey, this is a
Well,
credit
terrific
list.
job.
This is a.
However it comes around,
I don't need it. I'm
terrific
good.
job today.
Hey, by the way, I
And a
know
deep
we're all
cut,
looking
too.
at Jazz free agency and all of that stuff, but Ian Cole, former member of the Utah Mammoth, now will be playing for Chicago next year. So Ian Cole had some moments here with the Utah Mammoth. Now he moves on, I think, on a 1-year deal that'll pay him about $4 million next year.
Yeah, I mean, so now for the Jazz, at least this question is answered. Probably not answered in the direct fashion you'd want, but answered nonetheless. And so you pivot with a bunch of the assets and the money to see what you can do. And again, there were a lot of things to address. Probably not going to address them all this season. If Walker were to require a ton of money, that would impact next season as well. So I think a sound decision, and across the country by the national pundit, they're just shocked that Walker, that they were able to get 4 picks, 2 of them unprotected from the Lakers.
Yeah, and then 2 pick swaps. The Lakers are all in, and I think Rob Pelinka is at a point in his career where he realizes that honestly, you can look. Yeah, I'm going to make my mark here, and if not, I'll just do my Rob Lowe impersonation somewhere else, because I've had it. I've been under LeBron's thumb. No more. We're going to run this thing my way, and he has wasted little time. He essentially, when you look at it, he essentially told LeBron James to hit the streets, and I'm going to go sign Walker Kessler. He traded LeBron James for Walker Kessler.
Well, then signed Walker, and then 3 guys right in a row. So
Colin
they went
Sexton.
through 4 today. So
Yeah.
they talk about having a plan. They definitely had it. They got the Walker piece, and then everything else fell into place. But a completely new look there in L.A., and now they've backed themselves into a corner, don't have a lot of flexibility. It will probably end up being Walker, Luka, and about 7 dudes that you pick up off the waiver wire every season.
Yes.
It's at the end of the day. Or in Reeves. Sorry, those 3 guys, and then just filler pieces. Maybe they think those 3 guys are good enough with adequate pieces around them to, like this year they signed Grimes for $10 million. It was a 1-year deal. So we'll see. how it all plays out.
I'm kind of curious to know. Do you know Luka's number off the top of your head?
Salary?
Yeah. So Luka is 51 this year, 55 next year, and has a player option in 28 for 59, which obviously he'll re-sign, and then he'll be in the 70s after that. So, yeah, it's
a bold move, and from being in LeBron jail, which unfortunately the rest of us still are, because I had to watch him forever last night. Just tell me who's being moved outside of the GOAT, okay, or the supposed GOAT, whatever side of the fence you sit on. Just tell me something else.
Just give me something.
He's 43.
The Lakers are gonna have to do some work here. They're gonna have to maybe cut and stretch DeAndre Ayton. Maybe that's a center that'll be on the open market.
Oof. Oh, well, there won't be a taker in this joint. I can assure you.
So next year, you've got Luka at 51, you've got Reeves at 41, and then you've got Walker at 33. So you've got $125 million in three
guys. I'm not great at math, as you know by my first phone call with you, when I had really done it well. I actually called Scotty today because he was in the kit, and we lost. I lost my radio service, and so I called and told him about the trade. But I kind of mixed the numbers up a little bit. Well, sounded better than it was.
It's 3 years versus 4 years.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
That's all good. All right, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Scott Garrard, the coach. Tim LaComb coming up next. Gather around the radio, folks. We've got Bronco Mendenhall and Ben Jacobson joining us next hour right here on The Zone.
Accessing the best radio in Utah is right here. This is Scotty G and the coach, Tim LaComb, on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Scott Garrard, the coach, Tim LaComb. Hope you're all having a tremendous day. Joining us now, actually, Coach, we'll have you go sit over here.
I know I look rough, but I'm not that bad, bro.
He is the new basketball coach at Utah State, Ben Jacobson. Not only basketball coach, not only a good dude, but a 5K runner as well. Coach, Cam Walker said you just destroyed that 5K like it was nothing.
Well, he didn't see me walking up the hill. You leave the parking lot and you get down to the corner where the gas station is and turn right, and it's fine. But then all of a sudden you're going up the hill to the corner, but then the hill gets steeper.
Oh yeah,
going back into campus. So I took my time at that part of the 5K. After that, I was fine.
That's just efficiency, Coach, which you're big on efficiency, so it would make sense. Total sense.
Yeah.
Hey, what's this summer been like for you?
Yeah, it's been really good. So we just finished 3 weeks of workouts with the guys. We got done this past Friday, and then we take the weekend off. We take the entire week of the 4th of July off. So the guys will be back now on Sunday, and we'll get about 3.5 weeks in July after we get back and start up on Monday. And most of the 3 weeks, we get 8 hours a week. Half of that is strength and conditioning. Right? The other half is basketball, a little bit of film, and we spent the majority of those hours in small groups, right? Working on ball handling and the shooting, footwork, just a lot of the fundamental things. And we've typically done that. I've typically done that as a head coach. Wanted to make sure that that our foundation is in place. Right? The fundamentals are in place. So. And then maybe in particular right now with, Will Hornseth being the only guy that I've coached, the opportunity to, Brown Roberts is out, so the other 12, the opportunity just to spend time with them, right? And be with them on the floor and be with them in the workouts and just get a feel for where some of those things are at in terms of the ball handling, the shooting, the footwork, and now, and you guys know this, but I would tell you, just being on the court, like coaching,
right,
and being in the gym, awesome.
Oh, it's where you want to be all the time,
just
right?
being around the guys, just terrific. Okay, so whether we're in small group stuff or what I was getting to is after when we get back and start up on Monday, we'll have 2 90-minute practices a week. We'll do it on Monday and Wednesday, the first 2 weeks, because we've got recruiting Thursday to Sunday, those same 2 weeks. So a little bit of both going on. But So I'm really looking forward to the practice. It'll be the first time that we've gotten into some of the 5-on-5 stuff, and now you get into a little more of the up and down, a little more of the competition, start building some things. So looking forward to Monday.
Tell me about the meetings you had, the early meetings with particularly Mason and Carson. I know that was priority number one because you're a smart guy. Is you watch the film and you realize that's kind of the heart and soul of the team.
Yep.
They're really vital to that. So just how did those meetings go? And you don't need to go into detail, but just in terms of generally how fast did it come along with those guys?
Yeah, for me, wanting them to as quickly as possible, just get enough of a feel for who I am and what I'm about. The number of changes that they have gone through with head coaches is not, as we know, right? And everyone
crazy.
around Utah State knows. We all know, right? That's not normal, right? So, just wanted to be able to, sit in the office and talk and have them, ask questions and get as much as cover as much ground as possible in a short amount of time. And fortunately, we were able to do that. And I've talked about this, a couple of different times. Because Utah State is, in terms of the basketball program, the athletic department, the support around both our campus, President Mortensen, Cam, his team, because of all of those things, in our student body, right, the herd and what it's like in the spectrum, the way in which the community, obviously Mason grew up here, Carson did not, but the way in which the community has embraced the two of them, that bought me some time, right? In the college landscape where we're at right now, you don't have any time.
They would have been gone.
You have
probably
no
right?
time
yeah.
if we're not at Utah State, and it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean as much as it does to both Mason and to Carson. If this place didn't mean this much to them, I don't have any time because they'd already been through the coaching changes, right? They're tired of it, right? So all of the credit, if you will, goes to what has happened before I got here. That gave me some time. That gave me a week. That gave me maybe 10 days for them to be like, hey, we love this place so much. We at least got to find out what coach is about. And if it works, man, because they both made it clear they wanted to stay, but they needed to know a little bit about me. So, yeah. But it bought me time because of what's happened here at Utah State and the support that's here.
When Cam Walker let you know that he would love to chat with you about this job, and you saw the Pac-12 news, and you knew that this was going to be a conference that was going to involve Gonzaga, San Diego State, Boise State, Colorado State. I mean, you go down the list. These are teams that are currently having a lot of success or has had a lot of success in college basketball. How appealing was that to you in this process now that it's here?
Yeah, very, very appealing. And one of the main drivers, I would tell you, I think it's in all of us to find the highest level of competition, in whatever way, shape, or form. Right? There's periods of time in our lives where you've got some opportunities to say yes to a higher level of competition. Right? And this one was the right fit for me at the right time. But what a great league it's going to be! What a great basketball league it's going to be for us, and it's and I think it gets talked about a lot. They get asked, "Oh man, that's going to be challenging," and it is. It's going to be very challenging. But I've always looked at the other side of that as the opportunity. What does that mean for me as a head coach? What's it mean for Mason? What's it mean for Carson? For all of us, what's it mean for our team? And what's it mean for Utah State, athletic department, and as a university? Right, the opportunity to crank it up and find the next level for what we're all capable of. Like that, that's what excites me the most about it is, there's more out there for us, and this forces you to think about it a little bit different when you're going into the league that we're going into. So, I love it.
You had a chance to visit much with Coach Mendenhall since being here?
Yeah, he and Coach and Holly were kind enough to come down during the interview process. Made the drive down to Salt Lake and had dinner, and that meant a lot to my wife, Dawn and I, to know that. And we hadn't met each other before. I didn't know a lot about him until I clicked on clicked on the page,
and this one,
and I'm like, oh yeah, that's who that guy is. And then I started reading. I'm like, oh wow, yeah. But
immediately, the scowl on the sideline.
It immediately made a lot of sense to me, and then the next thought you have is, wow, that he would take time to drive down. He's got plenty going on as a football coach, that he and Holly would both take the time to come down and see us. So it spoke to the support and the vision that our president and Cam and his team, when the head football coach is a part of that, that meant a lot to us. Yeah, and we were together in Salt Lake, kind of 10 days, 2 weeks ago at an event, and had a chance to talk a little bit, but also, hear him converse or speak to the group that was there. And what I have found out is that we were on a Zoom call together, kind of same situation, able to listen to him talk for 10, 12 minutes, and then with the group down in Salt Lake. And I'm going to take every opportunity I can get when he's talking. I'm not going to, go over to every practice, right? But any chance I get to, just to be around him, and the way in which he sees things, and the way in which he is with young people, his football players, but others, right? The way in which he approaches it is something that I'm looking forward to learning about and learning from.
Has that been interesting to you, the process? You were there a long time and did such a great job at Northern Iowa, but is there a kind of not a reinvigoration, because you're a guy that did everything, but just a way of seeing things different coming to a new spot?
Yeah, and there is the the last 2 years were really good for us at Northern Iowa, and very fortunate to have a number of highly competitive years and very good teams and a couple of great teams. Okay? And so it wasn't that had changed any, but it is different. When you're and I will say, and I still do, and I said this to the group in Salt Lake, when you wake up here and you look out the window, and there's that feeling of, is this real? Are we in a movie? Is this going to change tomorrow?
Look at that right there.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
So that by itself, you wake up and you're going immediately, and it gives you a little bit of shot in the arm. And then we talked about it with the Pac-12, but even I would say big picture, for me as a head coach, and an opportunity to maybe I'm not going to say prove myself again, but maybe you can find the word for me. Right now, it's like, hey, we get to go do something that's a little bit different, and that part is exciting.
Ben Jacobson, head coach of Utah State's men's basketball team. I know there's probably a lot of people who will come up to you at a gas station or whatever and say, what's this team going to look like next year? How much, though, of what you saw over the last few weeks and over the first couple of weeks in July when you get them back, how much does that determine in your evaluation of what we're good at, maybe what we're not good at, the scheme in which you'll implement and install before the season?
Yeah, that's going to be a big part of it. It always has for us in terms of, you've got most of it. Right, but then the last part is determined by what does your roster look like, right? And who is healthy and who is playing at the highest level, and okay, what's that going to mean? So that is a big component of it. But the thing that a couple of things that have struck me, and you guys would know this more than I would. I've got 3 months of it now with Mason. That guy likes winning.
Unreal, right?
I mean, it's
he'll do a lot to make sure his team wins. I mean, if he has to give up his body, how long am I out?
Yeah, I mean, and that's been a lot of fun to be around. Like when your best player is, and we've only done a little bit of 5-on-5, but we've done some down, back, and stop where we've kept score. It hasn't been for very long, so it's a limited number of possessions. But each time, so one group's got it on offense, and then we go down and play, we come back and play, right? So that team gets 2 offense, 1 defense, and then you just flip it. The other team gets 2 offense, 1 defense. It ends up being the equal, the same amount of possessions. But each time the teams would switch spots, he's looking at the score, then I can see his wheels turning. Okay, this is the score, there's so many possessions. He is in the best possible way. He's always trying to figure out, okay, what do we have to do to be successful? What do we have to do to win this thing right now? So, again, when your best player is wired that way, and then he's such a tremendous young guy. I've seen him. We had our little kids camp, and all of our players. Okay, but you see, and I've had a number of different people come to me and just talk about, hey, I ran into Mason, and he stood and talked to me for 5 minutes, and you guys know that about him. But it's been fun for me to be around and get to know Mason on that level. And then Carson's diving on the floor, a week ago, 10 days ago. You're in the middle of June 20th or whatever the day is, and he's diving out of bounds for a loose ball. And Will Hornseth has come with, and I was around Will for a long time, but he's come with a lot of energy and a lot of juice, and he's really sharp with his workouts, and a great example for our other big guys to see that. So Solomon Callahan's got a bounce in his step, and he's got a huge smile. He walks in the room, and you can't help but he puts a smile on your face. And Kingston and Bo, the guys that were a part of this as red shirts, like they're very competitive young guys. So I won't go through the entire roster of all 14 of them, but that would be the competitive spirit, the leadership, with Mason, Carson, Will Hornseth, a couple of the other guys. Those are the things that have struck me a little bit here early on.
What does the 5-for-5 change any of your thoughts on recruiting high school kids because you can throw them in the mix a little early? Does that change anything, or is it just beneficial to be able to really use guys immediately?
Yeah, we've talked about that quite a bit as a staff, and I've talked with some other coaches about it. Okay, how does this impact? How is it going to change the approach? And I don't know. Well, I do know. What I would tell you is we haven't come to an answer yet. The positive is, and you mentioned it, a young guy, instead of redshirting and you're not eligible, you could go in a game, but you're not going to. If you're redshirting, you're not going to burn your year. Mm-hmm. How do you approach that now with, some young guys that are not in the rotation, right? So do you continue to treat it as a redshirt year where you're lifting 4 or 5 days a week and you're doing individual workouts? The bonus now is you can go into a game, right? Because that year is going to count regardless. So you can go into a game. It also, there's been times for all of us as coaches and with our programs where maybe you've got an injury at some point and you're like, man, I wish this freshman was available right now. That no longer is in the equation. That freshman is now available. Even if he wasn't playing, if he's not part of the 8 or 9 or 10 guys that are playing, and something would happen, whether it's performance or injury, right? That guy becomes available. So there's going to be a part of it where we've got to go through it the first time. Now, from a recruiting standpoint, we haven't made a decision to change our philosophy in terms of we're gonna work hard to sign high school players in the fall. And right now, Mason and Connor Turnbull are the 2 players on our roster that are out of eligibility. So those would be the 2 scholarships that we know we can use in the fall. So if we and we're on to some guys, of course, right now. But if we're able to get 2 of these guys, we'll sign them in the fall, even with the 5-for-5 change, and that isn't going to impact what we want to do in the fall with high school players. And every opportunity I get, I'm gonna say it, guys. You're gonna hear me say it a lot. The state of Utah is going to be the backbone of what we're doing, right? And those players are going to know it, and the high school coaches and AAU coaches. And it obviously doesn't mean that all 15 of the players on our roster are going to be high school players from Utah, right? But we are going to work really hard with the best high school players in this state to get them here to Utah State and have that be a part of what we're doing.
You're sick like me, probably coaching wise, but you've coached a million games. But when you think about it, you can remember a specific game, moments in games.
You remember some weird things, don't you, Tim?
In your head. I'm telling you. But when I think of your teams, because I obviously watched y'all from a distance till we had to play, and we played over in Hawaii. You remember that game?
Yeah. Yep.
And I'll remember the very first play of the game. One of you guys came down, your big 4-man, reversed the ball and came down and just cracked one. I mean, I could hear the sound of the crack on the screen. And I remember the first time out, I met a half-dazed guy that ran into it, and I grabbed 2 guys, said, communication is going to be really important tonight, boys. I said that. But just physicality is a hallmark of your teams. But talk about what we can expect when your teams take the floor.
Yeah, that being one half of it, the fast and physical is what we've talked a lot about with our teams, and the fast and physical together has been maybe a little more the last couple of years, but we've always wanted to be a physical team on both ends. Right? I've enjoyed. I love the preparation part of it, and I've spent a lot of time talking with our current team about their habits, their daily habits, and their routine, and how that impacts the way things are going to go. And the piece of it where, because once you get there, right, once you get into November, there's still a little bit of time. December, there's less in terms of the preparation and your
fine-tuning
and your foundation and your physicality. You don't want to be doing that in January. Like, oh, we're not physical enough, or we don't block out well enough. Like, there's certain things you don't want to be trying to shore those up in January, and we want that to be a strength of ours, right? You want to get into some games in December and in January, and you feel like you're the more physical team, and you feel like you're the team doing some of the fundamental things better, that you're able to play fast in transition because your skill level is high and your guys have do a great job of sharing the basketball. And so those would be, I think those things are fun to watch. I know they're fun to play, right? We've got one of the best with the Spectrum, one of the best places to play in the country. We've got one of the top 5 student sections in the country. So I know they're going to show up. I know they're going to be behind our team. But I also know it's our responsibility, mine as a head coach, as a staff, and our players, to be fun to watch. So when the game is over, our fans are leaving like, okay, when do we play next? Okay, we get to come back in 3 days and we get to do this again. Like, I want our fans to feel that. And that's where fast, physical, sharing the basketball, those things come into play.
When Cam comes to you and says, hey, we're putting this Pac-12 conference tournament together, what do you think about double buys? Are you in favor of that?
I am. Interesting that the Missouri Valley Conference is just going to, it might be a single buy to get 1 and 2 into the semis. I don't know how it sets up there, but they're just going to it this year. One of those things that as a coach and as a head coach for 20 years in the Missouri Valley, I think myself and 3 or 4 other guys were talking about it for 10 years. And no. So they just go to it, which I'm glad they did. I think it fits best. But yes, I have, following the West Coast Conference, and Gonzaga and St. Mary's in particular, right? They were 1 and 2, and they would get the buys most years, right?
We were always the afterthought, Coach. It's okay.
Yeah. Well,
it's hard when you're following those two teams.
Those two were pretty good. I know you guys were really good as well.
No, we were good, but, man, we were chasing two, almost like a ghost.
But I do feel like that is the way in which it should be set up. Right? It does a couple things. It avoids a potential early game. If you're playing an early game, if you're the 1 or the 2, you're playing the 7 or the 8. Those are teams that are not going to get in that large bid. If you're 7th or 8th place out of 9, we have 9 teams in our league, right? The reality is, whatever the team is, are not getting in that large bid. And if for some reason those teams had a year where their numbers aren't great, and that's the team you have to play, there's no reason to play it. It's not going to help you. If you're the team that's first, second, hopefully as first and second in our league, you're already well into the tournament. Okay.
Oh yeah.
But let's say the second place team is close to the bubble. You don't want to be playing the 7th or 8th place team. Okay. Yeah. So it takes that out of the equation. Okay. I think to me that's the most important thing because it's at the very end of the year, right? Everybody is watching. And yeah, you should win that game, and most times you're going to. But in a weird 40-minute deal, if that's the one, and it's like, okay, you're the last team out.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't play that game, and you're bumped into the semis, the team you play in the semis, it could be that team, but more likely than not, it's going to be somebody else. It's going to be somebody that finished 3rd, 4th, 5th. So that part of the equation I've always thought was important.
Well, Coach, we appreciate it. Thanks for coming by. Big day here at the university, first day of the Pac-12. Can't wait to get things started. I know you want time to get your team ready, but I know there's a lot of people around here that are ready for basketball season to start, like, right now.
Hey, I'm with them. I can't wait to get in the Spectrum as our head coach and with the group that I'm spending time with right now.
I love it.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach. That's Ben Jacobson, new coach at Utah State. Bronco Mendenhall joins us next right here on The Zone.
Accessing the best radio in Utah is right here. This is Scotty G and the coach, Tim LaComb, on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Scott Garrard alongside the coach, Tim LaComb. Hey, guess what? Oh, this will be a good show here. We're giving away tickets. It's a Win Ticket Wednesday. Caller number 12, 801-575-ZONE. You'll win a ticket to Friends and Family, the 5-pack of tickets. That's 5-pack of tickets to go see Post Malone with special guest Jelly Roll and Carter Faith, Rice-Eccles Stadium, July 28th. Tickets on sale now, livenation.com. But come on, you can't ask for a better show than that.
That sounds like a great one. I mean, we were talking about music with Coach Jacobson, and he fancies himself a little classic rock and country.
Yeah, good stuff, man. And joining us now, he is the head football coach at Utah State as the Aggies get set for the first year in the Pac-12, making the transition to this new conference. Bronco Mendenhall, kind enough to join us. Coach, I'm just going to tell you right out, I love the fact you made those dudes do trek. I thought I was impressive.
Yeah, I've had lots and lots of comments about that. Almost all favorable. A year ago, when I came to Utah State, I realized with so many transfer players that hadn't been in the state, didn't know its history, and didn't really have a strong connection other than playing the game. And so a year ago, there were team meetings where I was showing pictures of, people that came and settled this valley, others that settled Salt Lake Valley, and then just stories from along the way. And then I kind of educated them as to how many settlers just came, regardless of faith, right? How many came west, and then how many are in covered wagons, and then how many were in pulling handcarts, which, as we already know, man, that wasn't because they had an abundance of wealth and things were going well, right? I mean, that was kind of just
necessity. That's how we're going to do it.
That's find a way to get it done.
We're going to find a way. And so I then shared stories. Again, this is starting from a year ago, about those that were then settling this valley and the challenges and the battle and the resiliency and the toughness of the people to do that, which was, not insignificant. And a year ago, we reached out and we really tried to get the event done then, just not quite fast enough turnaround time, weather, the season, etc. But put a bookmark in place of, we're going to do this next year. And again, we really I like to do challenging things. And I know by doing super hard things together, it galvanizes relationships and it brings people together. So let's just say, as we are this year, 53% of our roster is new again. Kids from all over the country don't really know anything about the state and how it became, but it is college athletics. And so this chance to educate them, bind them, to have them relate to, have them show appreciation to the legacy of this valley, the people that have settled here, what that took. It seemed to make sense. It just so happens then that we could construct a really challenging route, almost all uphill, right? And we loaded the handcarts significantly. And every year I basically conduct what I call the interview with our players, and they usually do it one at a time, sometimes small groups. So this basically was in place of an annual event I call the interview, where it was a team-wide interview, but also education, team building, and quite frankly, a college experience that I think is maybe specific and unique only to Utah and Utah State. And so it made sense from a lot of different ways. And the players, lots of appreciation and gratitude and a lot of thank yous after, even though it was challenging, just for the time, energy, and effort to make a distinct and unique experience. Because many are coming from other schools and didn't know anything about the school, the place, and they were like, this is better to have an appreciation for it.
I was going to ask you what the player reaction was, but also I got to imagine some of those guys get on a handcart. They're like, that shouldn't be that hard. Then all of a sudden, like, whoa.
Well, it was really fun. So the reaction was really positive. So they didn't know. I sent out a text the night before, said team meeting tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. So the coaches didn't know either.
Yeah.
And so team meeting at 5, and then still didn't announce what we were doing. Just said buses are outside, and we'll give you instructions when we get there. Told them what shoes to put on. So got on buses and then went up the canyon. And then when they got out, they started looking around, and it's like, oh. And then there was the orientation there. So they literally didn't know. And tribute to our coaching staff and Summer and our director of football operations, Joe Spaziani, and Pat Hickman, our chief of staff. That little subgroup had been working, and it didn't leak all the way until we're getting out of the buses to then literally start the exercise, which was great. So really, the players had a great experience, and I would say gratitude was probably the thing they shared most. The thing that was really interesting to me, and they expected the event to take a lot longer, those that organized it, and they hadn't seen that kind of teamwork and speed. And we were about almost 2 hours ahead of schedule. By the time we had a meal set up for after, and it was done so quickly in about an hour and a half's time, where what they had allotted was significantly different. But anyway, what I found is that the groups were divided. So in the team meeting, we showed the groups of 4, and those groups of 4 were random and atypical. And so we put together, I think it was 28 different teams of 4, and some of those teams clicked and were cohesive and coordinated right from the beginning. Yeah, others were not. And yeah, disproportionate pulling and zigzagging and communication patterns, and along the way we had it staged at each mile where there's a new challenge where now you can only pull with 3, or here's weight because someone now is more tired than normal, so they had to put weighted chains on. And so we're making different challenges within the event. But what was interesting to me is I was just imagining families as maybe a loved one sprains an ankle or gets the flu, and then where do they go? The subgroup along the way, different levels of motivation in each cart, right? And to keep that whole string together, there were gaps, and there was others kind of running into each other, and some too close. I mean, there was a lot to manage. And so I was just thinking also from a leadership perspective, man, for those folks to come from as far away as they did and to actually make it, especially those in adverse conditions. But I think each family was challenged too. As I watched those subgroups of 4, it wasn't like that was just, everything was just fun and friendly that whole time. There were moments where, hey, are you going to pull? Or I said, stop. So there was kind of opportunities there for team building, but also just, I think, appreciation for thinking about if that was their family, and not making it's not an option, right? Yeah. So you got to find a way. And so I loved watching that.
In some ways, I mean, the way you're describing that, you simulated in a season.
That's
just
it.
one season.
Exactly right.
Is that what you're trying to do?
Exactly.
You're simulating a season, because nobody, unless you've been in the locker room in some capacity, there's a lot of people with a lot of opinions, and you don't need to get into this, but I can now. But seriously, unless you've been in the building, and to win a game is brutal.
Oh, man.
I mean, it's like a war on the sidelines, right?
Well, it is, and so one of the things we say here a lot, and I tell this to my own boys with like their social experiences and dating, and to my team, the idea is to know before you know. And what things can you do in advance that are going to tell you what it's going to be. And, dinner and a movie doesn't really do that.
Hey, guys, you want to hang?
Yeah, that's not how, at least my wife and I, our relationship's way past dinner and a movie. There's just hard stuff happening. But if you already know you can rely and trust on that person, and you've already seen them in all these different contexts, there's a different level of trust. So to your point, one of the main reasons is to see and know before we know, and who can I trust, who will communicate well, what groups of people can be relied on, what does a leadership council look like from that, what I just saw, which by the way we selected about a week after seeing that, because it was like tryouts, that guy, that guy, wow, that's surprising, but that guy wouldn't have ever guessed it, but look at him. And so being able to know before you know was, I think, to your point of the season, that was one of the things too.
Bronco Mendenhall joining us, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Were you on horseback during this?
I wasn't. No, there were those on horseback, and so there's, the message they said it's not only supervision wise, but there's some snakes in the canyon, right?
Oh, okay.
And so the horses kind of moving and around, so in front and back and going up the sides. I was just roaming, and so I was seeing which carts were lagging and occasionally providing an extra push, either physically or verbally, providing communication, and then just being where it was needed. It allowed me to kind of be boots on the ground.
Yeah.
And rather than above and separated, I got a sense of kind of literally just by going alongside each group and what that looked like, and what the kids, maybe a deeper sense of who they really were. And that was really helpful.
You fascinate me, bro. I coached for a long time, and actually alongside you, actually was a neighbor of yours in Alpine. But we never really connected. Yeah. But man, I've got a respect for the way you approach things. Because coaching to me at a certain point went from the low-hanging whistle and bike shorts and guys that kind of knew what they were doing to a science. But you were early in that. and just kind of talk me through that transformation.
Yeah, I think the science part, and I would say I'm still transforming, and I learn every day, which is the coolest part about my job. Young people are inspiring, and they're so smart and capable, and so I love that environment. But I remember being a first-time head coach at BYU, and I can't say daily, but frequently a player or someone would come into my office with a challenge or a problem that I did not have the answer to. I might have a principle that I thought this was right or wrong, but not really the solution of now here's what to do about it. So the science part really became my fascination with reading at that point of trying to become an expert on each topic that came in. And so my library is designed really by shelves that was then by a person, a player or staff member coming in with a challenge or a problem that I didn't have the answer to. But I felt it was my responsibility, but also just, I think, strong leadership and establishing trust to have the answers. When someone did trust me enough to come to ask, I felt obligated, but also fulfilled if I could help. And I didn't feel that way if I couldn't. And so the science part really, and the approach was built really through humility of not knowing. And then this quest of kind of going back to school in the real world to get a master's or a doctorate in sports science, in psychology, in anxiety or depression, in marriage counseling, right, in human performance, in the development of habits, in really any topic. And that really was just simply to provide the most answers for the people I care about. And there's a different level of peace that comes from having answers when someone comes to see you versus not being able to help. And yeah, I've learned that the hard way, and there's still plenty that I don't know for sure.
I know you have to be somewhat hands-off in the summer in regards to workouts and things along those lines. You gave the mantle of the starting quarterback spot to McKay Hillstead in hopes that he could be that leader to have the voluntary workouts and to lead those. How do you feel like that mantle is being held by him?
Oh, it's fascinating to watch each team and each leader do that. So I watched Bryson Barnes a year ago, and his leadership style and personality. It's very similar to coaches, and so McKay, one of our assistant coaches, shared a document with me the other day that I think one of the receivers passed on to him, and it was his weekly schedule from McKay. And it had the day, the minute, the hour, the sequencing, the progressions, the install, the coaching points. And so this is happening with me not even knowing about it. And yet here's a leader leading. It's such a precise, specific, and designed and intentional way that he's capturing. So leadership, right, is capturing the hearts and minds of those you lead. That happens not only through an approach, but then through competency. So he's doing both. And it was really clear in the spring that's what he was deserving of. To see him now take it and leverage that, his credibility with our team is, well, put it this way. When I am in the office now, which is I'll be here most of July, I walk by an offensive meeting room and it was jammed. I mean, it was the entire offense, and I wasn't standing in front, nor did I even know the meeting was going on. McKay was standing in front, and film is going, the clicker is happening, there's dialogue, and I don't know. I think many times in college athletics and many times in leadership, especially as adults and grown-ups, we think that we have to be the one. I believe in the level 5 leadership model where really being off to the side after architecting and enabling. And, man, if you watch in my faith, young people go out and serve and learn languages. And I mean, what they're asked to do is just mind-boggling. And then, yet we don't think a player can lead a meeting in a football program. Like, what?
Yeah, that's a coach's job.
That's it. That's the most, yeah. And so many of the coaches, well, what do I do? Well, you then help them lead from off to the side. You don't need to be the one in front. And, man, that's not how we view strong leadership in football. And yet I actually think my number one job is over time to make myself irrelevant, right? To have passed on everything possible, and they got it. And then maybe on occasion it's a text or a call. Hey, Coach, this is a tough one. What about? But the less that becomes, I think the more effective I've been over time. And I think we view it the opposite way. And there's models that have worked the other way, so I'm not saying it doesn't. I just prefer a little bit different.
We're both cavemen.
Home of the caveman.
You know the fight song, I'm sure.
Dear old AFI, yes, we will love you till we die. Our banner's bright of red and white will be a beacon through the night. Oh, yeah,
we
right
got
there.
Mm-hmm. My favorite part, though, is coming up. Dramatic arts.
Football and track.
Football and track.
We'll always bring the honors back. We'll sing our praises to the sky.
Bronco and I will always fight for
AFI.
Go, go. So anyway, that's our shout-out for the Steel Days is coming up.
There it
man.
is. Yeah.
I don't know how to top that,
so
Coach.
I've had a lot of things
Who would
on
have
my
guessed
dossier.
that was going to happen today? When I woke up, I did not see that coming.
Well, Bronco and I click. So
yes.
He gets me, I get him.
Chemistry, when you go to American Fork, it's just kind of what happens.
It's in the blood.
Yeah.
You probably have some manure on your shoe. You dabbled maybe in, I don't know, you've gone on the wrong side of the track a time or two.
And there's heritage into Geneva Steel and the steel workers. There's a grit that's part of that.
I watched you play at West High School.
Yeah, I remember.
Do you remember that game?
Yeah.
Like there were guys up on there were snipers up on the roof.
Yeah, I remember. Yep.
Were you a sophomore on that team?
I was a sophomore. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember you. You always looked so like you looked like you could just bash somebody's head in back in the day.
But there were some comments made as I was walking out to the field where it's like, and they were coming from the female students, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is
what we want to do.
They wanted to fight.
Yeah, we're okay.
We lost that game, right?
We did. Yeah, crud.
Well, Coach, we appreciate it. Thanks for coming by, hanging out with us. Can't wait to bug you a little bit more during the fall. I know. July this is the kind of time where you can let your coaches get away a little bit.
Yep. So the way that we work here, so we'll be back on the 29th of July. So the coaches each have half the week. So 2 at a time they come in. We cover the week. Our strength staff stays, and I usually take my time now that I've seen Utah State. I take some time in May when the coaches are on the road recruiting and the players are on break, and then now I'm here in July, and it works great.
Love it. Well, Coach, thanks so much, man.
I got Bronco to sing.
I know. That's a new one.
I'm not sure that's ever happened. Yeah.
Come on.
Thank you. This is clearly
that was awesome.
This might
Appreciate
be I know the two of you work together. Maybe there's maybe one day a week there's a third guy.
Come on down. I know you've always been dying to do sports
always
radio.
Open for you.
Thanks, you guys.
There he is, the head coach, Bronco Mendenhall, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The Jazz, the Mammoth, and the Utes, Cougars, and Aggies. When it comes to sports in Utah, we've got you covered. This is Scotty G and the coach, Tim LaComb, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
I'm sure.
Dear old AFI, yes, we will love you till we die. Our banner's bright of red and white will be a beacon through the night. Oh, yeah,
we
right
got
there.
Mm-hmm. My favorite part, though, is coming up. Dramatic arts.
Football and track.
Football and track.
We'll always bring the honors back. We'll sing our praises to the sky.
Bronco and I will always fight for
AFI.
Go, go. So anyway, that's our shout-out for the
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Look, I've been around Bronco Mendenhall interviews for a long, long time. I've never heard Bronco Mendenhall sing before. That is a first. And by the way, Nate Dowdle's over here to my left. Tim LaComb may have just earned his whole year's salary on that feat alone. There we go. Bronco Mendenhall, Tim LaComb. I think that's a band. I think we got a future band going. You and Bronco? Yep. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We are up here in Logan. It is the first day of a brand new conference. The Pac-12 is upon us, and this Utah State athletic program, they're fired up. They're ready to go.
Man, what quality people. We've talked to everybody we talked to today. There's some people that you just get through the interview. That is quality right there.
Yes.
And that's who's running things. That's why it's so put together. Thought the interesting thing Ben said was, he came in and the atmosphere, the culture, the love and passion for Utah State is what bought time for that to get done. I think in most places where, people aren't forward thinking, it's not about, ingraining guys to a culture. Maybe those guys bolt, but it's different here.
The Jazz-Lakers situation, we'll get back to that coming up next hour as Kurt Helin will join us coming up at 1:05, get his reaction on what that means for the Jazz, what that means for the Lakers, what that means for the NBA. The Jazz now looking for a starting center. And we're up here in Logan, so we've had a few people come by and say, hey, what about Neemias Queta? I think Nemi would be good on any team. I don't think Nemi's at a point where he can be a starting center in the NBA, but certainly from a depth standpoint, you would, a shot blocker, rim protector, rebounder, that's what he is.
Well, the one thing that they're right about, I don't know if they're right about Nemi, but they are right about the fact that they got to acquire somebody via trade. And it's going to be just like that, whoever that was saying Nemi, it's got to be Austin Ainge, saying, hey, let's go get that guy. But that, again, is why the picks come into play. You can sweeten deals with picks. It's like going into a real estate deal and having no contingencies in cash.
Yeah.
Versus I got to sell my house. My aunt's got to pay me back $50,000, and then we'll come in hard with this offer. But until then, it's just kind of what it is.
Yeah.
You're gonna go with the other one.
Aunt Susan, come on, you're holding me up here. Where's my money?
I made Bronco Mendenhall
You
sing.
made Bronco Mendenhall sing.
I didn't make him sing. He sang because he felt it.
Well, and look, high school allegiances run deep, man. That's what brings us together.
And then there's the cavemen, and that's a whole nother level.
Yeah, I think the American fork you guys grew up with is probably a little different than the American fork now. Not a lot of cow manure on the feet up there.
No, there's not enough. There's too much asphalt.
Yeah. So.
And some would say something else that starts with that, but not. I won't finish it.
Kurt Helin joins us next. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
You're locked on to Scotty G and the coach, Tim LaComb. Presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Scott Gerard alongside the coach, Tim LaComb. We're up here in Logan. It's Pac-12 day as Utah State. We are on the quad. You can't ask for a better day than this. July 1 in Cache Valley, you could either get 100 degrees or you could get pouring rain and 50 degrees. Today, we are right smack dab in the middle.
Well, they'd sing about New York in June. This is Logan in July, and I'm in.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The Jazz now have to go find themselves a new center as Walker Kessler is now a member of the Los Angeles Lakers. Interesting move by the Jazz saying, you know what, we're not going to pay. And I think Walker Kessler took $33 million a year from the Lakers. I think he wanted a tad bit more from the Utah Jazz.
And you get yourself in a bad spot when you overpay, even by a little bit, because a little bit adds up to a lot. And again, this collision was coming next year with Keontae anyway. It's why the Jazz wanted to be able to try to fit into this slot. And the fact that it wouldn't work, the Jazz didn't want to, I guess, mortgage the farm. They felt like, hey, we've got a lot of good pieces. We don't need to win it this year. We need to develop. We need to see how this is all going to work, how this is going to be cohesive. You do need rim protection. I get it. So that's what they're working on now, and nothing in free agency. I would expect it to have to come somewhere, trade-wise.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of teams out there that will probably try to take advantage of the Jazz, knowing that they're in desperate need of some help at center.
Yeah, there are a ton of teams that a first-round pick or two extra would be a game changer. The Jazz just happen to have 10 extra.
There you can do some damage with that.
Oh, you need another one? Hold on a second. Oh, gosh, it slid between the seats.
Hey,
yep, got it.
Jay-Z, I got one in the back room. Can you go grab that? Okay, awesome. Yeah, that's...
Like that?
Yeah, just like that. So I know there's some gloom and doom going on out there. I don't think that it's warranted quite yet.
No.
Let's let this thing play out.
No, it's just like Trek. You start pushing. One of the wheels gets lodged. You have to push and maybe take another route, but you're still headed the same place.
Yeah.
And you had to camp out a couple nights, so you can't get there today anyway. So you can't overreact. You have to, in negotiation, you have to have your number that fits and determine the value, and the Jazz did that. And they just, with everything going on and the vibes they were getting, I think it was all a blinking red light to stop and let somebody else deal with it, because he's not the only five man in the ocean.
I always tell my kids the most power you can ever have in life, whether it's jobs or relationships or
You're an expert in that.
or buying a car or buying a house, the ability to walk away, and it will always
hard,
give you
right?
leverage.
Yeah,
yeah.
but it's
I mean,
difficult.
it's tough. It's hard to do when you're emotionally invested, but sometimes the best thing is letting other people know that you're willing to walk away. And the Jazz were. I think Walker Kessler and his crew called that bluff, and the Jazz are like, we're not bluffing. There's our number. Take it or leave it. We're offering you 5 years. You want 4 years? There it is. At 33 per, that's we're going to stay put. I think they would have done 3 years at 33. I don't know if
but I don't think that was
Yeah.
I think if it came to that, I think that's where he probably would have charged the Jazz more than the Lakers, just for, I don't know, back damage in his mind. I don't know. But that's where players go. I'm not saying he did, but oftentimes in these situations to get what they want, that's kind of the direction it goes sometimes.
So now the Jazz have to figure out what's best for them, what's in there, how to proceed. And look, when you got the Ainges and you got Justin Zanuck, I think you're in a situation where you got some high-level people in that room to try to figure this thing out.
Always boots on the ground. And, yeah, you know, Austin Ainge is definitely the guy calling the shots. And so it really came down to his decision in the end. Was everybody on board with the decision? Who knows?
All right, joining us now, he is the man, the myth, the legend, Kurt Helin, NBC Sports, ProBasketballTalk.com. Kurt, I think all of us here in Utah anticipated that Walker Kessler in some way, shape, or form would be part of the Jazz next year. This one caught us all by surprise. How about you?
Me as well. I was under the impression that they planned to keep him as a part of a big front line, and like we talked about, kind of a deep roster. But I think ultimately, what is essentially 4 first-round picks? I mean, a couple of them are swaps, but I had a scout. I had somebody from a front office tell me the other day, like, how much more valuable swaps are now in this current iteration of the lottery, because it gives you some flexibility. So essentially, you're getting 4 first-round picks, and that was just too much to pass up.
So you're, I guess the proverbial question for the Jazz: what now? Free agency is pretty thin, so we're thinking it's something, either is patched together this year and money spent on other things that they're going to need to spend money on down the road.
Yeah.
Or negotiated trade with your newfound bag of first round picks.
Well, I think you wait on that, right, a little bit until you get the right person, because you can get a Kevon Looney kind of guy. I don't know that it's necessarily him. I know Boston's got an eye on him now New York's got an eye on him now since they don't have Mitchell Robinson. But, like, you can get a veteran, big-bodied guy to provide some depth pretty cheaply right now. To get somebody special, you're going to have to wait. But you also might want to see how this plays out. Like, if you've got, look, what is the starting 5 now? Jaren Jackson Jr. at the 5, Markkanen at the 4, Ace Bailey, Peterson, and George. I mean, that's a really nice group. And then you see where you need to fill in and what moves you need to make and what works for this long term and doesn't, and adjust. But I think ultimately, you can patchwork it this year, but ultimately, what you think you need may ultimately not be what you need once you see it all working together.
So Coach and I were talking to someone in an NBA front office, and they mentioned that the Lakers with new ownership, they're going to rebound pretty quickly. The buses kind of skated by on the Laker name, but obviously we're not very liquid, couldn't get very aggressive in a lot of things. They said the Lakers are going to be a problem going forward because now they're being run the right way with the resources they need to be successful. The Lakers are going to come back, and Rob Pelinka right now is spending money like a drunken sailor out there.
Yeah, it's a little different, but this is sort of what happened with the Dodgers in the sense that, hey, did they go get Freddie Freeman and Shohei Ohtani and spend? Sure. But they also have one of the, if not the best farm system in Major League Baseball, which lets them make some trade up some guys and have some depth. And that's kind of the ultimate concern.
Looks like we may have lost Kurt. We'll try to get him back on the line here. Kurt Helin, NBC Sports, ProBasketballTalk.com. It's the Lakers are not going away. The Lakers are now going to rebound. Rob Pelinka has gone all in, and this is the same ownership group that has the majority stake in the Dodgers, and they're going to run them like the Dodgers, and we see what a problem the Dodgers are being to Major League Baseball right now.
Yeah, and obviously the biggest difference is they can spend away in the Major League Baseball. There's no cap, but in some ways this is good to have an aggressive plan. But man, your chips are all in.
Oh yeah,
with only one first-round pick between now in the next 5 years. I mean, you've got to be pretty ingenuitive to figure out how to keep this group together, because some pieces of this aren't going to work. You got to move pieces. So that's a lot of money to invest in three guys when you've got all that going on.
So Kurt Helin back with us. It really feels like, as you were mentioning, Rob Pelinka is going all in. He's putting all those chips in the middle of the table.
They also are on a timeline too. Like, this is not hey, let's go find a young star and start to build. Luka's 28 now. Like, Luka's in his prime. You've got to. Kessler was a guy, one of the two guys they'd really targeted at center. That they needed to get a rim protecting center who could set a big pick and roll hard, and those guys. Kessler's going to look great. I mean, to be blunt, Luka has lifted up some guys who, I mean, with all due respect to Derek Lively and some of the guys he's played with, he's made them look really good, right? He's made good players look much, much better, and I think Kessler's really going to thrive on that. And they went out and spent, look, Grimes and Memesili and all these guys they picked up kind of smart picks, smart players on the side, and moved on from LeBron, which was, you mentioned the buses earlier. I'm not sure the buses could have done that or would have done that, because LeBron financially is a windfall for whatever team gets him, right? Like, you are going to sell a ton of jerseys. You are going to get sponsors. He is kind of a economic engine to himself. And I'm not sure the Lakers could have given that up under the bus ownership as easily as they did here, because the advantages are still the Lakers. They still have this massive fan base, but now they're winning. It all is forgiven.
The LeBron special last night that ESPN did for about 2 hours and 45 minutes. He was basically all anybody talked about last night. But do you feel like the legacy itself has perhaps outkicked the actual product that we're still lauding at this point?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, he's still the biggest brand. He's still the big, internationally especially, and even domestically, he's still a huge name that gets recognized. So he brings value. He brings eyeballs. He brings clicks, right? He brings an audience with him whenever you bring him up. And well, as of this morning, he might be I guess Jaylen Brown is still out there theoretically, but like, that might be the most interesting thing, because LeBron's going to take we were talking about it before, like, how big a pay cut is he willing to take? And I know they're saying now he's willing to play for the minimum. I believe it when I see it. But if he's willing to really go, look, Minnesota could probably get him at the taxpayers mid-level of 6.1. Would he go to Minnesota? Like, if he really wants to compete, would he do that? Or does he want to go east? Does he want to play with Giannis in Miami? Like, it's like, if he's willing to take considerably less, his options expand, and he'll get to choose where he wants to be and what he wants to do. And it does become a little bit of like, man, I'd love to see him play with Steph Curry. Like, that'd be a fun thing to watch, and kind of a little nostalgic and reminiscent. But they're not a threat. That combo isn't even with Jimmy Butler healthy and Draymond Green, that team is not threatening the guys at the top of the West. If he really wants to compete, Does he have to go back to Cleveland and hope that he can lift them up or something? I'm really curious where he goes with this.
Do you? I mean, we've heard this Golden State, and that smoke's been going for a while now. Do you? Yeah. If you had to put odds on a team for him next year, would it be Golden State?
Yeah, for two reasons. They want him. They have made a push for him, going back more than a year. Two, and this is really big. He's close to home. Like his family's still in Los Angeles, so they're not. In fact, he's building a new. I was going to say home out here would be the wrong term. Complex.
Estate.
Estate. Yeah. Out here in a massive new project. So like they're not leaving, and this is ultimately where he's going to come back to. So would he rather be somewhere like that that's close? Because it's not as easy to get from Cleveland or Miami or wherever else back here. So I think that they check the most boxes, but again, he keeps talking about competing, playing meaningful games. They would play meaningful games. They would be interesting. But if he really wants to compete with the big guns, then he's either got to go to one of the top teams in the East or maybe a team like Minnesota or Denver. I know Windhorst mentioned them the other day. There are teams that he could really help in the West if he wants to stay out there.
By the way, do you think that was Rob Pelinka's way of saying, hey, look, we need you to move on. I'll do this for you. We'll guarantee Bronny, and then you can move on. Because the timing of that was pretty funny. The Bronny gets guaranteed, and then all of a sudden LeBron's out on the streets.
Yeah, I don't think that timing was totally coincidental. By the way, wherever he lands, like that's going to be the next question, right? Like, Miami, hypothetically, it's like, are they going to trade him for a second? I heavily, one of those top 55 protected seconds to Miami for Bronny just so he can be with his dad again. I would not be shocked to see that.
Hey, we have an extra second in the closet we could send for Bronny.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. The funny thing is, I want to give, it's kind of fun to mock him, but I'm going to give him some props in that by the end of last season, you started to see the outline of a respectable rotation player. Like you could see him getting there in a way I couldn't a couple years before. He's not all the way there. He's got a lot of work to do. He's got some size and athletic limitations that are going to keep him from ever being, well, forget his dad. That's not a fair comparison, but like being an all-star or anything, even probably a regular starter. But you started to see the outline of like, hey, he's way better than he was. He's made huge leaps. And so maybe he gets to his credit, maybe he gets to being a rotation guy.
The one thing that he's definitely great at is creating, news. So we will put a pin in that one. Anybody else out there on the free agent market still that you have any interest in, or you think could possibly find their way to Utah? Just generally by any position,
Yeah,
because they're going to have a bunch of money to spend.
Yeah, they're going to have money to spend. I'm trying to think through it. Like, it has come so fast and furious today. So guys that I was like going to put together a list of best guys on the board. I'm like, Kelly Oubre's still out there. No, he's gone. Like it's moving really fast right now. So off the top of my head, I've been swimming all day. So it's like my head. I mean, not actually swimming. I'm not coming up with another name off the top of my head, unfortunately. But
that's probably what I was finding too, Kurt. So we're on the same page.
Yeah. I'm not sure. You're starting to get into bench guys, right? You're starting to generally get into the 8th, 7th, 8th, 9th guy on the bench, and guys who are going to play for you. But since we were talking about the Lakers, like Grimes is a great pickup for them, but like 7th man, 8th man, like that's kind of where we are in the pecking order now.
So if you're Danny Ainge, you're Austin Ainge, you're Justin Zanuck, you've got four first-round picks, but essentially 2 unprotected first and 31 and 33. Yeah. I got a sneaking suspicion the Jazz will not be drafting in those locations. This is going to be ammunition to try to find a way to improve this team dramatically going into next season.
Well, it's funny because somebody pointed out online somewhere that technically you can tie those picks back to the Rudy Gobert trade, right? Like
yeah.
this
Oh, yeah. No,
crazy.
You
so,
flipped four more picks out of Rudy.
Yeah, so Rudy's now out to 2033, and you can extend that further now. Like so, the nature of Danny and Austin is to wheel and deal and find wherever they're going to send this thing next. So yes, I expect that to be the case. But I like I said, I think you're going to sit back, let the market shake out a little, see where you need, see what you need, see how Peterson fits, how the whole thing starts to come together and what you want to do. And then you have got real flexibility and optionality is everybody's favorite word. You've got all sorts of optionality to change things around down the line or go get a guy who does come up that you want.
I've got my like dark horse for LeBron, where he's going to end up. I'm going to say the Wizards.
That would be hysterical.
I honestly, so just remember that, Kurt. And if I'm right, if I'm wrong, you can razz me. But I am saying it's an out there one. But that tied Anthony Davis and the fact that I don't want to move him, if he's willing to play for the minimum, that'd fit real nice.
Oh, you actually, if you put him out there with the Bonsa in between, that's actually starting to become a nice lineup already. Like, a lot of things.
Your turn, my turn lineup, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little awkward. I'm curious how they're going to be respectable, and that alone for Wizards fans will be a nice change of pace. So, like, you can tune into those games and not be horrified. That's a big step up for the Wizards.
That's a win.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Kurt Helin, NBC Sports and ProBasketballTalk.com. Kurt, the one thing that I think is really fascinating about all of this is that you've got an NBA landscape where free agency used to be such a big deal. Now it's about trades, and we don't see the free agency anymore. Do you ever see that coming back, or is this just what we have now?
It'll depend on the CBA. What's changed is in the effort to get teams to be able to retain their own top players and free agents, it is much more lucrative for a player to extend with the team they're on and then force a trade or do in some way rather than just hit the free agent market. You get less money hitting the free agent market. It's not you make for the top end guys, like you make more where you are. And so that's just kind of the pattern. You're also with that, you're getting, especially once you get, out of the top couple of players on a team, those are more and more shorter contracts. It's 3 years with an option on the end, and guys are getting moved around, and there's non-guaranteed years and what have you. Like, there's a lot more, teams are trying to be a lot more flexible and have a lot more ways to move things around. But until they change the CBA again, which they will, right now, for good players, it just makes more sense to extend where you are and get the bag and then worry about getting out of town.
Do you, is there a lot of times when things go quiet, it's when something's close to getting done. Are you hearing anything on the Jaylen Brown front?
Under that theory, he could get moved in the next hour. It's what I've heard, and in fact, I just wrote on our tracker at NBC Sports, trying to keep up with all the free agent stuff. Is two things they're talking to teams, but two things are kind of, I don't want to say scaring teams off, but giving them pause. One is the asking price. Boston wants 4 first-round picks or picks and players combos, but like good players. This is not a team that's looking to tank and rebuild, right? Like they've got Jason Tatum still. They plan to win on the fly. So the other thing though is, and maybe the bigger issue is, Jaylen Brown makes $57.1 million next year and has $126 million guaranteed for the 2 years after that. He is on a supermax deal that is really expensive. And it's not that he's not a very good player. I don't want to like he was 6th in MVP voting last year. I don't want to take this away from him, but that number gives teams pause no matter how good he is. Like, do we really, if we take this on, we lose that flexibility. We are stuck here. Is that where we want to be? And that's not, teams aren't giving up what Boston wants in a deal.
So anything surprise you other than LeBron, and that was the biggest surprise, but anything else out there surprise you in terms of movement around the league?
The Kessler thing surprised me. Oh, the other guy is Duran, but I think that's kind of, I would be shocked if Duran has a Kessler-like move in him, because the Kessler thing caught me off guard. Duran is kind of in the same restricted free agent situation. He can get a little more money on the table because he's got an all NBA under his belt. But the difference is, because he's proven it, he's a 22-year-old guy who's just made all NBA. Detroit's not giving him up. Everything I talk to is like, Detroit's like, don't, if you want to make an offer sheet, go ahead. I'm going to tie up your money for 47 hours and 59 minutes. Then I'm going to match it, right? Like, we're not going to talk trades. We're not letting this guy go. But that drama is still out there as he's trying to do sort of what Walker was doing, which is, I want more money than you're putting on the table for me.
Kurt, always a pleasure. Never a dull moment, especially here locally. Thanks for your time, and look forward to chatting with you again here very soon.
I'll talk to you soon.
There he is, Kurt Helin, NBC Sports, ProBasketballTalk.com. All right, we're live up here in Logan, Utah State University. It is the first day of the Pac-12. Yes, the Pac-12 is officially, Utah State is officially a member as they expand not only with Washington State and Oregon State, but you've got Colorado State, Fresno State, San Diego State, Boise State. You go down the list, and then you throw Texas State into the mix. It's a new era of college athletics and a new era for Utah State. Coming up next, we'll get back to this Walker Kessler situation with the Utah Jazz, what this means, and what the Jazz can do going forward. It's all straight ahead, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Utah is right here, right here. This is Scotty G and the coach, Tim LaComb, on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
I don't know if it's been a top 5 show, but it certainly has been a top 5 playlist, courtesy of Lloyd Cole.
I would say probably the best playlist we've had, and kudos to you for that. And then, it ain't top 5. Bronco Mendenhall
singing.
That makes it at least the top 3.
Oh, yeah. No.
Come on.
Yeah. That was, and by the way, not just singing, enthusiastically singing.
Yeah, because we value our roots.
You know what? Look, you both have been out of high school for a minute, and the fact that you still know the song, like
verbatim.
Like, I don't know my high school fight song.
I can't lay out the geography of my high school like DJ can. Where the mural was, where the water fountain was, the science lab. But I can tell you, we actually had the words to that on the wall of the gym. So every time you're in the gym,
you saw it.
Yeah, so it just kind of like Bronco on that Trek tour. He was teaching them without even knowing he was teaching them.
If you missed any of our conversations, we've had some good ones today. Ben Anderson, you'll hear Ben coming up here in about a half hour, continuing to break down the Walker Kessler trade on his way to the Lakers. But he joined us. We also heard from Brad Mortensen, president at Utah State University, Cam Walker, athletic director, Ben Jacobson, as well as Bronco Mendenhall. So if you missed any of those, they'll be up for you on our podcasting platforms. Just search Scotty and Coach, and you'll be able to find it. Also available for you at KSLSports.com. So the question is, a lot of Jazz fans, they're not the most patient bunch. And they want answers. They want responses. They want rosters being filled out. They want to know exactly what this thing's going to look like going forward. I would say be patient, but we could find out what the Jazz have up their sleeve in an hour. It could be, in December. Who knows?
Well, I do know the next 24 to 48 hours will be interesting because as we've alluded to, probably the 7,000th time, but that's radio, right?
Yeah,
You're supposed to do that.
As Lloyd, as a great philosopher once said, radio is not linear.
That's right. Nor am I. So it's a nice fit. Did I tell you Bronco Mendenhall saying?
Bronco Mendenhall saying, yes.
And you guys are even debating top 5. Like, what else would have to happen? That would be like, let me put this into sports context. Rick Majerus tap dancing.
Yeah, I actually, that might be about right, honestly.
I mean, seriously, you think of another great Jerry Sloan playing acoustic guitar and serenading a ballroom.
Yeah, maybe in
it's not, you don't equate one with the other.
Yeah. He and Phil Johnson singing Summer Lovin'. Yeah, I just don't see that.
That'd be a blast.
Yeah.
In matching Letterman's jackets. Boom, boom, boom.
You're so done with the Walker Kessler conversation.
No, I'm not.
No, I know.
I
am too, just because there's just it was a gut punch. I think we all just anticipated Walker would be on this roster this year, and now that he's not, I just want to see the fact that this team, which has struggled so much defensively over the last couple of years, figure out how to be better at rim protection and rebounding. I mean, those are the two things that this team's got to be much better at, and they got to find a way to get it done.
Yeah, and every building has a timeline, and yeah, we thought we were completely ready to hit.
Yep.
The nice part, Scotty, is that I talked last week, the most talented roster in Jazz history. I mean, that certainly takes a hit when you lose him. But from one to whatever you want to go to, like we talked about Svi yesterday, he shot 43% on just crazy weird minutes. Like he would play 2 nights and then not play for 5. That messes up your rhythm. So it's really hard to shoot 43 unless you're really good. And so he was a guy that was there, but the Jazz will do their research. I've said since Austin got the job to anybody that listen, he knows players. And, they don't need anybody to come in and be a crazy hero. They need rim protection and rebounding. This iteration, this year, that's what they need to be able to then stick Nurk in and play behind him. And, then everybody else can operate as normal.
You mentioned, and I think it's honestly, it's a good philosophy of saying, okay, well, were the Jazz going to win a championship next year? Probably not. So maybe take that money and reinvest it in solidifying other positions and then piecemealing the center position. I just look at a guy that like Lauri Markkanen, who's been patiently waiting for this team to win, and I think all along has been like, okay, now we go. And then being like, maybe we're just going to wait a little longer. Not that this team's going to lose, but they're not going to be right where we thought they might be in terms of a complete team. I think just for the good of the roster and keeping guys that have been patiently waiting through all this, the Jazz need to find a way to add to this group and find some help at that center position.
Right. But again, like to be able to have groomed Flip for, urgency minutes or emergency minutes, however you want to look at it. But he went in there and battled bigger guys. So he's like, that's the last thing he remembers. And obviously Nurk had as good a career as he's had in the last 4 last year. He really hit a groove. Guys like playing with him. I foresee, like Ben Anderson said right after the signing of Nurk, that Nurk and Darren Peterson will be a deadly handoff duo. I mean, Nurk he cuts a swath, man. It'd be like trying to get around a handoff from Hans Olsen. You know what I mean? Like, good luck. And that's what people deal with. So the ball handler like Darren Peterson's always on attack. And, man, he's living – I mean, that's what he came to Utah to do.
More triple-doubles for Nurk.
Yeah, Nurk's going to have a good year. God willing, he stay healthy. He's getting a little older. Again, don't tag him in a tweet or he'll block you, and you won't be able to see what he's up to.
Yeah.
So just type it out, Nurk.
I mean, if anybody's having a good day today, it might be Filipowski. He's like, my playing time may have just increased dramatically.
No, he's valuable. I said it all along. I'll call him Cam Boozer light, but a very similar player, at least at this stage. I think Cam can develop into more of a ball handler. But if you clear a side and give Flip 3 dribbles, you're totally fine with that as a coach. And that's hard to do with big guys. But he can take 2 dribbles and get in his little spin game and either find a guy to kick it to or go score it. So to me, that's the benefit of Flip, and it won't be ideal, but you at least have big guys and you've got a stopgap. At least you're not going to be playing with like last year with at times Cody Williams played center last year when they were really injured.
Yeah. Let's maybe not go back to that time.
I'm sorry, that brings back bad memories.
I know. There's a lot.
Show me the title.
And maybe it's because because this is the power that you have in your short time in sports radio. But you brought up Gafford. Now that seems to have caught fire within Jazz Twitter sphere.
That was actually Ben Anderson that brought that up.
Oh, was that Ben?
Yeah.
Okay.
And astutely, Gafford, a definite member of the Jake Scott, Tim LaComb pre- and post-game all-star team, for those that you don't know about. Like, we go below, but we've always liked Gafford. If he can stay healthy. That's the one caveat.
That's the biggest thing there is, can he stay healthy?
And when you hear walking boot and big guy, that does not – because feet really become important for those dudes. And no other way to do it. You got to carry the load.
That's usually not a good combination. In case you're just joining us, and I'm just getting texts from buddies of mine that are listening, and they'll be like, wait, Walker Kessler, what? We sometimes assume that everybody is just sitting around the radio all day, and dialed to their phone and watching Twitter. But no, yes, indeed, Walker Kessler is on his way to the Los Angeles Lakers and then signing a 4-year, $140 million contract. It'll pay him about $33 million per. And so he will team up with Austin, Luka, and when you look at that roster, those 3 guys are worth $125 million against their salary cap next year. You've got 51, 41, Woo! And 33.
Everybody else better be ready to play for at a discount.
Yeah, you got the Tom Dundon contracts after that.
Okay, everybody. Dundon, will you take care of the rest of the 8 guys?
I got a trade deal with a donut place, so I'll get you a dozen glazed. I'm like, well, can I at least get jelly? No, they got to be glazed. But a dozen glazed every Monday morning. All right, fine, I'll take it. That's about what they've got working for them.
What do you think of my LeBron to Washington? You chuckled?
I chuckled,
but you could see that happening.
I could see. I think he wants to win a title, though. I think he wants that extra ring.
Trae Young and him. I mean, who's going to stop that?
Trae Young.
My favorite is LeBron will come for, league minimum. Well, it's one of those ads that's like, as it's going to break, it's like, may contain course. Like when you sign him at minimum, the caveat that he may destroy your world in short order in a big string of phrases is that's what's going to happen.
All right, here you go.
LeBron for me.
LeBron wants to piggyback to a title. LeBron next year, San Antonio Spurs.
I just had that same look. I thought the same thing. There is no doubt he's looking for, because he's always kind of done it by committee, unless it was, well, he's always done it by committee.
Oh yeah, Kyrie was with him on that Cleveland one.
Yeah, and for them, I like to remind people, save their behinds a couple of times. Yeah. That long 3 from the left wing, right wing.
Right wing, yeah.
Step, boop.
Yeah, they don't come close to winning that title without Kyrie.
So while he's awesome, he has needed dudes, because when he doesn't have other dudes around him, or the dudes aren't maybe strong where he's weak, in the case of Luka, the team just goes to mush. His teams go to mush, ultimately. A very ripe tomato.
And if you're like, okay, well, what can I do to really make sure that my team does not go to mush? Go with a generational player who hasn't even scratched his prime yet in Wemby, and that can overcompensate for my massive defensive inequities.
It would actually, you know what, that does make sense in some ways, because the floor you have to cover on the defensive side, both in ISO and in help, is minimized because Wemby takes up about a half your job.
Yeah, he's Rudy 3.0.
Right. I mean, if he's in the vicinity, they're not throwing a lob because he can easily. So it does make a guy's job easier who doesn't move as well. And that characterization of piggybacking, that'd be a full effect right there.
Oh yeah,
jump on?
That would be the most LeBron move of all LeBron moves. Golden State, that just seems like it's a really high priced retirement home. Yeah, it's going to be fun and the food's good, but you're not winning anything. He goes to San Antonio, he might very well win a championship. And the other thing is, as much as we make fun of LeBron, he's still a top 10 player in the league. Statistically.
I'll do everybody a favor. Just save your money. Don't go watch LeBron and all those guys. If they get together, don't go watch it. Give it 2 years, and you can go for free at your nearest 24-hour fitness. Because they're not like on the verge of, like, this is the swan song.
Yeah.
So in a couple of years, you seriously just lean up against the glass, like, oh, wow. I didn't have to pay any money. I've got front row.
Because that's about the quality of the basketball you're going to get.
I don't want to minimize. Like, LeBron's still good, but to my point with David yesterday, is he worth everything that comes with him? Because he cannot operate in an environment that isn't 100% about him.
Oh, yeah.
I totally believe that.
Yeah. In fact, somebody reported that he is actually in talks of doing a documentation, essentially a
reality show.
Focusing in on his last year in the NBA, essentially his last year in the NBA, even though it's not official. So, yeah.
Maybe I don't know. I can't imagine that Bronco would be very happy with that, These Orthodox guys, LeBron sees an opportunity to make a buck, and that's where it becomes like Bronco, you talk to him, he's out there right now in the middle of the summer trying to build a team of guys that like each other or at least respect each other, work together. It's such a huge part of the battle. And then you bring in a energy vampire on the bus. If you know, you know.
Oh, yeah. All right, we'll wrap up this bad boy next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Gentlemen,
the biggest name. You're locked on to Scotty G and the coach, Tim LaComb, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone, wrapping up the show, but we have done a bad thing today, and we apologize because we know that this is your home of the 1-minute World Cup updates, and you demand them, and because we've had a crazy show with the Walker Kessler thing and up here in Logan, so we apologize. We have not gotten your 1-minute World Cup update with the great Alex Napolis, but we still have time, and it's a big day because Team USA is hitting the pitch later today, so let's get to it. Alex is ready. I know you, the listener, are ready. It is your 1-minute World Cup update starting right now.
The U.S. men's national team is back in action tonight as they get ready to take on Bosnia and Herzegovina at the San Francisco Bay Area Stadium. The U.S. men's national team looking to win their first World Cup knockout game since 2002, looking for their first win against a European side since back in 2021. The U.S. men's national team will face Bosnia with the services of Christian Pulisic, who is ready to go. He's 100%, and he's going to give it all, according to him, in yesterday's press conference, he's going to give it his all and is ready to roll for the Bosnia and Herzegovina match. Last night, the Norway beat Ivory Coast 2-1 thanks to goals from Erling Haaland. France taking down Sweden 3-0, and then Mexico winning their first knockout game in 40 years after a 2-0 win against Ecuador. Earlier today, England fight off a scare from the Congo as Congo is up 1-0 for a large majority of that game. 2 late goals from Harry Kane to put the English national team through to the next round. Belgium and Senegal coming up here at 2 o'clock. The winner of that one will take on the winner of the U.S. versus Bosnia game. So if the U.S. move on, they'll take on the winner of that one. Tomorrow, Spain and Austria at 1 p.m.
You got it. We're counting it. All right, so, Alex, how confident are you feeling right now, Team USA?
You know what, man? I'm feeling really, really confident. So there was There was a great moment last night in the Annapolis household as we were watching Mexico take down Ecuador. And again, that was their first knockout win in 40 years. So, I mean, if Mexico went and did that, I'm feeling really, really great about the U.S. men's national team's chances tonight.
You see the drone footage when that goal was scored in Mexico City?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we're talking hundreds of thousands of people celebrating.
I think there was 800,000 people in the plaza out there to celebrate.
Wow. That's just crazy. All right, so everybody's healthy though, right, for Team USA?
Everybody's healthy, and again, I mentioned with you guys a couple World Cup minutes ago that the Christian Pulisic, yeah, there you go. Christian Pulisic was ready to go, and I think when it comes to the U.S. and how far they can actually go in this tournament, I think a lot of it is going to come down to Christian Pulisic, the way he plays, the way he commands the midfield, and his availability and how healthy he is, and so. Heading into this game, he says he's ready to go. Mauricio Pochettino also coming out in a press conference saying that he's ready to roll. And so Christian Pulisic, I think from the get-go, will be the guy to watch for the U.S. men's national team tonight.
Okay, I'm making a little bit of an executive decision, even though I'm no longer an executive. Lloyd, you have final say on this. But I think if Team USA wins a knockout game today and advances into the round of 16, 16, that we add 1 minute. So it's a 2 minute of World Cup update.
Are you out
I'm
of
going to
your
one better
mind?
that. You know what? If that happens, it'll be 4 hours of Alex Napolis tomorrow.
That sounds like okay, deal.
4 hours of Alex Napolis tomorrow if that happens.
So tomorrow's when it's going to happen, huh?
Yeah. So I will say, okay, so if they do win, you and I, they're going to kick us off the air.
This was awesome, man.
Yes,
I love
that's what's going to happen.
I really do.
Might even happen even if they don't win. We don't know. Who knows?
I mean, go out on a high note. Broncos sang. I mean, let it be known, let it be heard, let it be written.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Scott Garrard, the coach, Tim LaComb. All right, you're going to want to buckle up for this one. Jake Scott, Ben Anderson coming up next, and you know those two. I'm sure they got some thoughts on what went down today.
Definitely talking to the right people, too, so I'm looking for the intel as well. It's been awesome being up here, man. Thank you.
Yeah, big thanks to everybody up here in Logan. They've treated us like gold, and it's been a fun atmosphere. First day of the Pac-12 for Utah State University. And if you missed any of our conversations, including Bronco Mendenhall, yes, singing, with Tim LaComb, all you have to do is...
Zero day of highest feelings of you. Okay, I was just going to...
Is it still... Have they adjusted it at all, or is it still the same fight song?
Still same one, baby.
All right. Well, good. All right. Remember, you can catch any part of the show on our podcasting feed. Just search Scotty and the Coach on whatever podcasting platform you use. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Overwhelmed? That was me with diabetes. Hey, I'm Jabron. Between teaching and coaching, managing diabetes felt like an extra job. With the Freestyle Libre 3 CGM, I get real-time glucose readings and have the insights to make informed decisions. My life feels lighter now. Learn more at freestylelibre.us.
The views expressed should not be used for medical diagnosis or treatment as a substitute for professional medical advice. Individual circumstances may vary. For prescription only. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.